Their intention was to subvert the SNP. This is sensible, isn't it? Their intention was to subvert the SNP. This is sensible, isn't it? He's doing a pretty good job. What? This is sensible, isn't it? He's doing a pretty good job.
I'm actually not laughing.
He's had to mute himself because he can't stop laughing in between.
I'm actually not laughing.
This is sensible, isn't it? He's doing a pretty good job.
It resonates greatly within me.
This is sensible, isn't it? He's doing a pretty good job.
I'm actually not laughing.
He's had to mute himself because he can't stop laughing in between.
I'm actually not laughing. It resonates greatly within me.
This is sensible, isn't it? He's doing a pretty good job.
I'm actually not laughing. It resonates greatly within me.
He's doing a pretty good job.
Good afternoon.
You muted yourself, mate. Sorry.
Oh, fuck. Right, here we go. We'll try that again. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Yes, I'm starting to get told the chat unmuted, and those of you that were watching really closely will notice that the intro video that I used is from one that we previously did. But there you go. There's that. What about you, Sansom? Oh, and can I get an audio check, please?
Yeah, audio's fine, mate. Yeah.
Yep.
I can hear you okay. Yeah, no, everything's champion. Edmund, in the chat there, Edmund 184, he said on our other chat, he goes, yeah, don't be doing any of that Halloween. He said, oh, great, we're doing a Halloween stream. So I even did a little intro video to the last stream just to catch people out. If you haven't seen it, mate, it's quite good.
I haven't had a chance. Emma G and I were quite busy today.
But it's quite funny. Yeah. Well, it's good.
I will see that. I will see that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but and another thing, guys, because we are watching in the midnight hour, 2:00 tomorrow morning. Clocks go back an hour. Don't forget that. We are a news service. Information, as always, is important.
Yes, we're going back to Granny's Meantime.
Yes.
We're going back onto our proper time zone, and that means we also are on the exact same time as Timbuktu.
Yes, and Lisbon.
Yes, it's all good. What are we like for housekeeping?
Well, only a little bit. Tomorrow night at 7:00 over on our good friend Ragnar Ironspear's channel. Rags and Jack will be playing host to the National Housing Party UK. Now, I don't know if that's John, Pat, or both, but they've got the National Housing Party UK on as guests. And finally, obviously, you can catch our good friend John Davidson's streams on Tuesdays and Fridays, as and when he feels up to doing them. Last night we did the movie stream review, which was 12 Angry Men, which was a brilliant film. Really enjoyed rewatching that again through the week, and we had some great. William hadn't watched it; he forgot, but he has been busy at college, so we give him a pass on that one. But we did have an extra special guest join us for the review there. So, guys, if you want to have a little bit of chat, get yourself over to John Davidson's channel. Have a rewatch of last night's stream. Give it a like and give John a sub as always, and that's pretty much it for the housekeeping, mate.
Lovely jubbly. What I will say is, as always, whenever I got a guest on, I don't go through the list and say hello to everybody, but I am putting your comments up to recognize that you're here. The other shout out I want to do as I always do, is James Waffle House. He's in here in the chat working. It's always a good wee show. It's nice. It's lighthearted. He talks to the chat for an hour and a half. Gives away points, gives away prizes, all good fun. I was lurking there last night because I found that if we actually want to get the cleaning done that I need to get done, I need to not start to interact with the chat and get nothing done. So that's what I did last night. But it was a good show. Emma G saying, James Waffle House is saying he's not in here. Emma G saying he's probably over in Dangers because Danger's streaming at the moment. But so there is that. Other than that, what have you been up to, chum?
I've been busy, mate, to be honest. It's been a bit of a busy weekend for all the wrong reasons as well, because it's been a problematic busy, which I'm no doubt you're familiar yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had those. They're not good.
No. I mean, busy's good because, you know, okay, you're wishing your life away, but when it's good busy, you don't even realise what time it is, and then it's the day's over. It's like, oh, great, it doesn't felt like that. There's other days where you're doing the square of fuck all, and it drags on, and then there are bad busy days where it drags on, but you're working like a bastard because there are issues. I fucking hate those days. They're the worst. You feel absolutely fucking drained. Now, like I say, I'm the first one to say my dad was a miner, 37 and a half years. But my gel kit digits have never lifted anything heavier than a pencil. But at the end of those days, I am absolutely fucked. Drains your head. Because especially, you know, you've got these people who employ me, expect me to think. I don't think. You know, fuck you, you know.
The worst bit of my job is the paperwork. I absolutely hate it with a vengeance.
Mate, tell me about it.
Documenting everything is just a fucking pain in the arse.
And sorry, mate, just to stop your story, and this week as well, we had the usual fucking the so-called anonymous. Everything's anonymous. They send you these links, you know, these links to these sites for anonymous polls and anonymous surveys. And yet, because I did a quick comparison, said, send me your fucking link to your survey. Well, it's anonymous. Just send me that fucking link. And you know all that myriad of fucking hexadecimal characters at the end? That knows. So you go to the same landing page, but it knows that link is you. So they know it's you. So like this week we had diversity, equity, and inclusivity, yeah, and also our strivings for ESG goals. Now, for me, I would be saying on both of those fucking things, if it truly was an anonymous survey, would be, yeah, throw it all in the fucking bin, stop wasting our fucking money, you fucking women's, and it is literally all women's in HR, you need to be all fucking sacked and we need to go back to payroll. End of story.
Well, there's two things I'm going to say here. There's two ways those surveys can be done. Now, they all have a different thing at the end because they need to know if it's unique visitors. So, say for sake of the argument, you're on the poll. You need to know if somebody's voting it 10 times. Or filling in the survey. I filled in quite a few surveys about male victims of domestic abuse, and I had that explained to me. Says they can keep it anonymous, as in they don't get you. They get sort of the IP address, no information about the IP address, but they know whether or not that same person is that same IP address has done it multiple times. But I would say with your work, they're probably going to be able to pin that right down.
Oh, no, they actually do. Like I say, it is unique. And I've run sites where, well, not run sites. I don't know anything about that kind of shit, but I know how those things are resolved so that even if you go onto a site, and this is where the old VPN comes in, but your computer has what's called a MAC address, and it is unique to your computer, or supposed to be unique, and they can get it from that anyway. But like I say, the whammins, as I like to call them, these fucking HR demons, they are literal demons. If you would, because they've got all of these plans about rainbow bullshit and we need to be more diverse and equity and inclusivity and all the usual bullshit.
Well,
Yeah.
it was feminism and feminists that made HR the way that it is. That was a deliberate target. By getting a small number of ideologically driven people into that area that can actually control the whole fucking company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, complete. And they do literally control the company, because you piss those fuckers off, you're not long for that company. Well, and as it stands right now, I need the money.
They write all the policies. They write your policy on bullying harassment, which dictates how everybody behaves inside the factory site, building site, whatever it is, that dictates how everything goes. They organize the disciplinary process. They oversee the disciplinary process. So they literally have that company by the ballocks.
Yeah. And like I say, this ESG shit, the BlackRock fucking mantra, that's all coming through now. And I'd love to say to them, do you even realize what all this bullshit's linked to and what it actually really means? They won't have a fucking clue, because they're all doe-eyed fucking vindictive fucking cat women. But anyway, I think DJ's back in the room. Are you there, buddy?
Fancy seeing you here. Hello.
Well,
I'll speak at once, like.
How's yourself, DJ?
I'm no bad, like. Since the last time we spoke, I've aged another year. It's my birthday in the past few weeks, so don't all congratulate me at once. I don't actually like birthdays, to be honest. It's not the same as when you're a kid and you get fucking toys and whatnot. I don't really like to be reminded that I'm getting older. Kind of makes me depressed in many respects, because when I started to appear on streams and get kind of known in these spheres, I was only fucking 24, and now I'm 28 now. I feel like I'm getting very close to not being able to, with a straight face, call sense in my boomer. It's upsetting, to be honest. Every cloud and whatnot.
Well, to be fair, Sanson's probably Gen X, like myself.
Nah, he's a fucking boomer.
I'm Gen X. I'm a Gen X, you fucker.
You fuck.
I act like a boomer. Well, put it this way, right? I act like a boomer when it comes to certain technological things and certain opinions, but I'm definitely a Gen X when it comes to current things. Or even, not even one of them might even be Gen Z, because they're more based in the millennials, aren't they?
But you're the guy. You're the only person I know who will sit and moan about ads on news websites and whatnot, but refuses to download ad blocker because it's complicated.
Oh,
that is the most boomer.
No.
Ad blocker free, no complications. It takes 2 seconds and it prevents all of your issues. But no. Mr. Boomer Communism over here will not do such a thing. He doesn't want to bring any additional complications to his life.
Every now and again, I do get an advert from a certain site that is promising me a long time, $5, and occasionally I want those sites. Do you see what I mean?
While we are on that, have either of you have you encountered this bullshit? Just I got it up. Have you? DJ, have you encountered that as yet? YouTube telling you
that? Don't think so. Well, that said, I don't get ads. So
Right. Well, see for about
No,
2
I've never
weeks.
seen that 42, and I never will because of
Yeah.
reasons why TJ's just
Yeah.
mentioned.
Well, for about 2 weeks, I was getting a thing that said, "It looks like you've got an ad blocker. Please disable it. YouTube uses it to make money and whatnot." And I was just clicking the X and closing it and continuing on as normal. And then I got this one, which is telling me that if I don't disable my ad blocker after 3 videos, I will not be allowed to watch YouTube. And it was at that point that I disabled my ad blocker.
mate, that's
And
just a fucking scam. Like I've never seen that,
yeah,
and
oh,
I've
they
never had
are
any issues.
they are working their way through the system. I know a couple of other people have had it, so it may catch up with you sooner or later.
Don't know, like I'm too based red pilled for that shit. To be honest.
Yeah, so that's what's been happening in my world. I've been having to watch the adverts on YouTube, which means I've been watching a hell of a lot more on Rumble.
I don't mind Rumble, to be fair though.
Well, a lot of the stuff that I generally watch also has a Rumble channel, so now I
Yeah.
just watch that on Rumble, and I don't have the ads because the amount of mid-roll ads is fucking off the hook. Whenever I was writing, I would always have listened to Paul Mumford Deepwater album. That's just what I have on the background. So places in silent and it doesn't interrupt my brain thinking for writing. And now there's an ad after every song on that fucking thing. I can't use it no more.
Aye. Yeah, if I watch YouTube on the Xbox, obviously you can't get ad blocker on the Xbox. Like it is a pain in the arse, especially if you're watching like an hour-long video and it's advertised or monetized. Even it's like every 5 minutes another ad, and that annoys me. But
You watching it on what,
Adblock's
mate?
definitely
What-
the way to go. What?
What are you watching it on, DJ?
The Xbox. Don't know why you're laughing at that, mate. Like you know, times have moved on from your day. You know.
I put an ad block on it, mate.
Yeah. I don't know, like, it's the absolute epitome of boomery is you, in the sense that you find it comical that people watch YouTube on their Xbox or a console. Like, you're probably sitting there slapping your knee going, I totally got with that one. Well, we watched it on the Xbox. Like,
It's a games box. What are you watching YouTube on a
because
games
it's got,
box
like,
for?
a myriad of fucking apps on it. Like,
No, it's a computer that is optimized for gaming, but does a shitload of other stuff.
no.
Yeah.
Like, if ever you needed any more proof that you were a boomer, it was that.
I'm gonna like I say, I'm gonna
YouTube on the Xbox.
I'm gonna cut my steak in a freezer later on.
Mate. Fucking hell. I'll refrain from being ageist, you know. Respect your elders, that's what I will always thought.
Yep. No, I think what I'm going to do next is remember I used to do the strange sports, and I've moved away from the strange sports. I'm not doing them anymore because it's becoming harder and harder to source them. And I've started doing a poem of the week, which I've actually found quite helpful for me because I've got back in the way of writing poetry because I need to do a poem every week. Generally do it on Wednesday, unless I end up having in-depth conversation on DJ's new Telegram channel. And if you want to stick the link in for that, work away. So I think what I'm going to do now is do my poem of the week, and let us all hear that. This is the one I wrote on Thursday. If I can just get it 2%. It's going to be a window. This one's called Changing Traditions. One of my abiding childhood memories was counting money on the windowsill of my house with my friends, proceeds of collecting money for Halloween by children dressed up, as was the tradition at the time, I even remember the rhyme recited by us kids to extract cash from the adults in the area. Halloween is coming and the goose is getting fat. Please put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you and your old man too. As children, we did not understand the compassion in that rhyme. We just enjoyed counting the coins and dividing the spoils equally. Neither did we understand that the field was thin, causing the need to be disguised and absent from your abode. That revelation would come later, but only to those with inquisitive minds and a need to understand traditions. Belfast children of today, who through American influence demand candy, not cash, with an inferior rhyme. Trick or treat, smelly feet, give me something nice to eat. Know nothing of what they have lost, and will never be inquisitive about the origins of their traditions or have compassion for those who place a stone in the bag, because that is all they have to give. This is change, not progress. There you go. That's this week's poem, and it came on the subject of Halloween.
Yeah, it is how. Well, when I mean, I dare to know because we're roughly about the same age, give or take 42. I mean, we know DJ's Gen Z, so with his Xbox, making pancakes on his Xbox now he is. So
I'm either a very, very, very old Zoomer or a very old Zoomer or a very young millennial. I don't actually know.
You were one of the first Zoomers off the production line.
I don't know. Like every website I've ever checked, like they give you a different answer as to where millennial ends and Zoomer starts. But you know,
when I was a lad, I mean, it wasn't really that big a thing. I mean, we used to do it, but it was just an excuse to be out with your mates late after dark, because obviously, you know, that was the big selling point.
Yeah,
and we used to be called Jack Shine the Maggie, and we used to hollow out a turnip because pumpkins were, you know, we didn't have pumpkins. You know what I mean?
neither do we. Oh, see anybody that has not carved a turnip as opposed to a pumpkin, they will never understand the struggle.
No. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Right, you had calluses on that, and then, well, because next week will be. I mean, it's next week is the bonfire night, so we'll probably be talking about that again. I mean, you guys had some. There's that on bonfire night. Those great big fires when you showed them. They're like big pallet fires. What was that for? Was
that's
that
that's the 11th of July.
Yeah.
The day before the big parade on the 12th of July is for whenever King William won the Battle of Boyne. And the fires are to represent the fires that were lit to guide the ships into Carrickfergus Castle, and also as William went across Ireland to let people know that he was in the area.
And well, like I say, when we were a kid, it was because bonfire night's next weekend, basically. You know, so you'd have, because we'd already be you know, sort of going back to school. So you got that sort of first week of going back to school, either the first or second week of September, that you hated, because after 6 weeks holiday, you'd forgotten how to write, and the teachers were screaming at you because you couldn't write anymore because you hadn't done it for like 6 weeks. Do you know what I mean? And so we go back there, but then sort of second or third week, you know, your mates, because where we were on like these estates, but there were little pockets of areas in those estates. They were big estates as well, because there was two estates that paralleled each other down this one road, and it was the main. In Stoke, you've got it's made up of 5 towns, and a couple of the bigger towns were Hanley and Longton. And the main road between those two, there were 2 estates either side of this road. And ordinarily, you know, there was a lot of, you know, it was quite cordial. It was a cordial relationship. We didn't have that kind of thing. But come bonfire night, second or third week of September, I think, yeah, really need to start thinking about the wood pile.
Yep.
We used to have our own little hidey holes and that. But the worst thing of it is if you had a decent stash. Soon as Halloween was out of the way, you were really fucking thinking about, we need to start assembling the old bonfire. But you're always worried of it being saft, what we called saft. So in other words, you were always worried about your wood that you were assembling for your bonfire was going to get nicked by another group. And that was when, not even estates across from each other, but little pockets within estates. You'd start doing the Johnny Rob on each other's wood stash.
Yep. This is why you'll learn how to assemble one of those bonfires in a day.
Yeah. Well, we did, but there was, and you used to, because occasionally, I'm saying this like it's real, but occasionally you get like, really got to be careful about this one this year. Why? We've got 3 old couches. Have we? Yeah. Fuck. How are we going to? It's like, we like talking about the crown jewels, like, because we've got 3 old couches this year because Mrs. X down the road, we've got hers. Yeah. Oh, well, we can't be putting that up too fucking early. It'll go. Yeah, I know. Because you can't trust them fuckers because they'll have a day off school just to nick the. Yeah, I know.
Yep.
These were real conversations.
Yes. And the trick was always to put your wood flat over a wide area so it doesn't look like much, but a sofa sits out like a fucking sore thumb.
Yeah. And we had 3 this year. We were like, hit the jackpot. And it was like, well, we'll sort that out. But I'll tell you, another thing that we used to do as well, and I don't know, it's probably as toxic as hell, but we used to pierce tatties, rub them in salt, not fucking, salt and that, and put them like good layer of fucking tinfoil, yeah, good proper layers, Hessian mat, so they wouldn't get the full brunt of the fire sort of thing, a moistened Hessian mat, and we build them, the edges, we'd build them around there, and then the day after, or if it was a school day, the day after, we go bouncing straight down there, dig the buggers up, and we'd have like fucking jacket taties, ordinary. If you went home and your man put a jacket tate in front of you, the fuck is it? What's this? What's going on? But when you did it yourself, it's like, yeah, we've got jacket taties. Yeah, these are fucking great.
Oh, memories.
Yeah.
Whenever we were kids, the big, massive pallet stacks that you see now were not a thing. But there was a hell of a lot more bonfires because like every 2 to 3 streets had one. So yes, your wood would go missing. Oh fuck. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, we used to do. When you used to get the raggedy ass end woods. Yeah, so you get like a bit of wood that had been in masonry or something, and it got like the fucking 6-inch nails in them and that. Yeah.
Yep.
We used to place them in such ways. Well, I know it sounds like being bastards, but we were little bastards. But we used to place them in such ways. So we'd say, like, if I was going to nick this, I'd grab it here, right? Put it there. And then if any fucker tried to grab it, they'd grab a fucking nail. Do you know what I mean? And like the next day, you'd see a kid with a fucking plaster on the edge of his hand, like, yeah, we know we've got our wood. You're getting a fucking tanning tonight, fucker. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
yes.
I'll tell you what, we used to get that kind of shit. So I wonder we didn't end up with fucking, what is it, tetanus and all kinds of shit.
Was tetanus around in those days?
Must have been. I don't know. I think we had natural immunity because of all the shit we used to get up to.
Yeah.
Anyway, Deej, sorry, mate, we're excluding you in the conversation, buddy.
No, I'm just listening intently. Like, were any of you back in the day prolific for egging houses?
No.
Never
did that.
That was kind of our thing back in the day. I'm not going to lie. Most kids would be out trick or treating and whatnot, whereas me and the boys. So when I say me and the boys, we're talking about like Alpha Chad 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds. Oh no, we would just egg houses. That was kind of our thing. Never really did the trick or treat stuff. Always.
Yeah, I think
Same with
back in
fucking
my
bonfire
day,
night,
if,
actually, for that matter. Did the same thing
back
in
in
the north.
my day, if we did that and we got caught, we'd probably get the shit kicked out of us, and then get double when we got back home.
Yeah.
That's if you get caught, you know.
Well,
Well, I
uh,
was built for comfort, not speed, so that was me out straight away.
where I lived, you would have got caught.
I only
With
ever got caught once. I was, I think it was about 12. It's the first time I ever got punched in the face by a man. I egged this guy's house with like 2 of my pals, and then we were running away. And we like where I used to live back then, it was there was rakes of like alleyways. So we thought we would lose this guy down the alleyways, but me being me running with the carton of eggs, I tripped over a curb and the carton of eggs smashed all over my jacket.
oh
So I was covered in egg, and then this guy came round the corner and I tried to like, fight or flight type shit. I tried to like feign ignorance and pretend I was just a innocent passerby going about my business, obviously covered in egg. The guy came right up to me, pinned me up against the fence, punched me in the face. I was 12, as I
see
said. So, you know.
you see what this is. I'll tell you where he went wrong. See, as soon as you seen him, you should have went, them bastards egged me.
Yeah, probably should have. But I thought I could get away with it. But covered in egg, not really my finest moment. But yeah, took a lot of off though. Didn't cry instantly because there was a girl there, so I had to try and be
Yeah.
cool and brave. But when I was by myself, I was quite upset. To be honest, it hurt a bit.
Right where I lived, if you threw something at a house, somebody up the street would have seen it, and whichever direction you were running to, yeah, they would be stopping you at that point, going, "Yeah, no, we don't do that."
See, that would just spoil all the fucking fun if you just know you're gonna get caught. The
Yeah,
amount of shit we used to get up to. I'm quite glad we didn't get caught, to be honest. I mean, it's just boys being boys. It's kind of sad, really. You just don't really see that nowadays. Even where I live now, you barely even see like kids out playing. Like, I don't know what they're all doing. They must all just be inside, glued to consoles. Whereas when I was a child, that's all we did. We would go out. If obviously you go to school, whatever. But the minute you came home from school, you'd be out all through the summer holidays, winter holidays, whatever the case may be. Out, rain, hail, or shine, we were out. Now you just don't see it.
there's a couple of kids live up the street from me that I see regular, up and down the street on their bikes, up and down the street on uh, scooters, up and down the street in roller skates, out kicking a football about. It's actually quite good. I like seeing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just even as well. You don't even see like when we were teenagers, like our Friday night or our Saturday night tended to be getting pissed at parks, right? Not
Yeah.
exactly something to be proud of, but that was just the norm. You don't even really see that now. Like the odd time I've had to like walk through a park at night going from A to B, or from like driving past parks, or even when I've been out because I live kind of near a park. Sometimes during the summer I'll take the dog out for like a wee walk when the sun's setting and whatnot. No teenagers. I don't know what they're all doing. Either they're at house parties, which I doubt, or they're just I don't know. Something's changed with societally speaking. I'd hate to be young now, to be honest. Like the whole life just seemed to be taken up by the internet. That's it. Consoles and
I
the internet.
I see bunches of teenage boys uh, going around on mountain bikes around the area I live.
No,
Uh,
barely see that here. funnily enough, like the more run down parts of Inverness, that's where you tend to see more kids out playing. Not a great deal, admittedly, but like the more posher areas and whatnot, just complete and utter silence, street to street to street. So maybe that's to do with, rich mummy and daddy throwing iPads at their children. I don't know. I can only speculate, but I just think that ever since the sort of internet age has begun and expanded to such an extent, kids don't have the same life that they used to have at all. I mean,
Well,
I think that's where the sort of snowflake generation comes from. Yeah, obviously, what they're being taught in school and whatnot does not help whatsoever, but they're sort
well,
of shielded from what made boys boys to begin with. The rough and tumble of going out to play and doing what boys do. It's just gone.
helicopter
What's that?
parenting. You can see helicopter parents a mile away, and the child from an early age, the child is out trying to do fucking child thing, and there's a parent 3 feet away just hovering around them all the time.
Oh,
You
there was
know,
a few of them arseholes when I was growing up, to be fair. Oh.
but
I was
the,
always the kid that, don't get me wrong, I was a little cunt, but I mean, I was always the one that I was the scapegoat. So, like, all my friends would do something bad, but yet I would be the one that was always blamed. I was always the one that kids got banned from playing with, even though I wasn't even the ringleader of our group. But there was a few parents that had a bit of a hate boner for me growing up. Like, the memories, But wouldn't change it for the world, to be honest. I'd rather that than my entire existence being made up of playing Call of Duty and OnlyFans.
oh fuck, the computers started to come in whenever I was like 15, 16, and we'd have sat in one of my friend's bedroom and played the computer for an hour or so, and then went out.
Aye.
We still did the out. Well, the only thing is, when at that stage, like there was no mobile phones. If you wanted to talk to somebody, you had that phone on that was connected to the cable in your hall, and anybody that said they walked past heard your phone call. You couldn't just instantly get hold of people. So if you wanted to meet anybody, particularly uh, females, you had to be out there walking about. And then for the girls, if they wanted to actually meet boys, they had to be out there walking about. So that's a lot to do with it as well, I think, because now you can do all that from the comfort of your own fucking bedroom.
And I'd say there's positive arguments to be made about the internet in terms of people can find solace, like cyber friends and whatnot, but I think it does a lot more harm than good in that respect. Like going out and being forced to meet people and whatnot, in the real world, encourages confidence or the requirement to be confident and whatnot. Whereas the internet, on the flip side, a lot of people, they get addicted to the attention and they kind of give off false personas of what their life's really like.
Yeah.
It's all fake and contrived.
And the other thing is, like, we have parents that have we've done a really shitty job of risk perception of how dangerous it is for kids to be away from their parents at what age. Uh, everyone's saying, yeah, you can't really let your kids go out and about on their own because it's dangerous. Fuck me. See, whenever we we had quite strict limits on how far we were allowed to go, uh, and knew which directions we could and could not go. It all got quite lax at about the age of 14. But whenever I was doing all that, every 15 minutes, there was an army patrol went down there was either an army patrol or a police patrol went down the main road close to me. There was, you regularly heard something go bang in the distance, and the people who were raising kids through that still managed to give their children the agency to go 2 to 3 streets away, or what we would. There was a park that was about 15 minutes walk away, but it was a decent area because it was very homogenous, and there was about 10 kids in our street, ranging from 16 down to about 7. And the whole 10 of us would go to a park at the time, and the older kids would look after the younger kids. And then we'll come back again. And it was safe, but I don't know that parents would actually let that happen in today's world. You know, we seem to have lost something.
Yeah. And I can't even say that it's because obviously where I live, for now, still homogenous. Can't even say that it's due to a decline in homogeneity because here it's homogenous and it's still happening in terms of kids just ain't out the way that they used to be. I would, if I had to speculate, as I say, put it down to the internet and whatnot, the expansion of consoles, etc., seems to be taking over. I mean, there's even a fucking category for it now classified as esports, you know? Like, and all the money that can be made from that, or all the money that you can make on YouTube, etc., if you're into gaming and whatnot. It's definitely playing a major role. And it doesn't help when you get a lot of these parents who throw an iPad or something of that nature in front of their children as a means to sort of occupy them, you know, out of sheer laziness or convenience. But when you're doing that at a very young age, when you're introducing children to consoles and whatnot at such a young age, by the time they get to like 10, 11, 12 and whatnot, I mean, I can't even begin to imagine what the fuck sort of effect that was having on a kid. It wasn't a thing when I was growing up. Sega was about the only thing. And then the Xbox and the PlayStation 1 came out when I was about 8 or 9. And then I got the Xbox when it was maybe 11 or 12. But yeah, I played it, but like I wasn't obsessed with it. And I was out a lot more than I was in playing it. Whereas now, it's the opposite, you know. I don't know. I just think kids are missing out on a lot of shit, really.
Did you hear about the babies on YouTube ending up watching the dancing Nazis?
No.
What? Right. What what happens is, right, you set a tablet in front of a baby, right? It's not pressing any buttons, selecting anything, right? And so you've put it on and it's on autoplay and you get the next video up. Well, these Indian people had figured out the fucking algorithm, and they had got all the keywords and all the right stuff to get their videos bumped up the algorithm for kids. But it was like really weird fucking video of a strange song and a bunch of Nazis dancing around in a circle and shit. And people were coming in their room and coming back into the room, set the baby down, put the tablet in front of it, hit YouTube, and it starts off and it's watching like cartoons and stuff. And then eventually the cartoon goes a different cartoon, goes to a different cartoon. And these people then end up with their dancing Nazi video, which is monetized, being watched by the babies. And the parents were going, how the fuck's this happening? I'll tell you how it's happening, because you're setting that thing in front of the child and just walking away. It's fucking nuts.
Dancing? Do you mean the dancing we had?
No, I
I'm not
mean
saying no.
no Nazis, German people, a cartoon made of German soldiers from World War II that were dancing around in a circle and all sorts of weird stuff that was going on in these videos, and the parents were cracking up because why is my child watching this? And I'll tell you why you're watching this, because you set a tablet in front of your child, you let the algorithm decide what was going to watch, and you walked off, and you come back an hour later, and the algorithms, this is what it came to.
Yeah. Well, thank God we've got the online safety bill to prevent that from happening in the future.
The online safety bill is not going to prevent that. It's not going to work. Well, it is going to work as planned. It's going to be a tool for government censorship, and the people that are doing that type of shit are not the target. And the people that's going to be the target, it's going to there's going to be a human element to how that's chosen, and they're going to have their whole brigade of Karens that go in and go, yes, we don't like this, we don't like this, we don't like this, and that's what's going to happen with that. And you will also have the particularized prosecution of that, because you're a whole bunch of people turning up at a rally with Palestine flags, and a couple of people turning up with St. George Cross flags, and the police come in and decide that the George Cross flags were the problem. And that's who they removed, that's who they arrested.
Aye, I mean, it started off as, well, they used children and protecting children as an excuse to start debating, quote unquote, this bill. But it's obviously grown arms and legs, and in the small print, it's on about hate speech and whatnot. And how convenient is that, So a bill that was allegedly put in place to prevent children from accessing porn or being groomed or whatever the case may be. It's now about hate speech, which really, it's a very dubious term, is it not? Because it's like the old argument about truth and untruths. Who's the arbiter of truth? Well, who's the arbiter of who gets to determine what is and what isn't hate speech? It's not great. Let's be honest. It's remarkable how it's managed to sort of get through Parliament, get through the House of Lords and whatnot, and the vast majority of people don't even have a clue that it occurred, to be honest. And I do believe, and I have to give my missus credit for that one, obviously, because it was her that hypothesized that. She thinks that the Russell Brand stuff was deliberately put into the media at that very specific moment to allow for that bill to pass, pretty much, unbeknownst to the majority of people. And surprise, surprise, with hindsight as a backing, the Russell Brand shit's kind of died a bit of a death now. But what did pass during the peak of the Russell Brand stuff was that bill.
Yeah, it's... Well, Russell Brand, that has been quiet because you need a court case for that to be interesting.
Yeah, but it's, if you look at the timing of it, though, it's, I mean, 9 times out of 10, whenever something happens in the media, like selective outrage, there's something happening somewhere else in the world. There's an element of distraction. When they drop things, there's a reason behind it, or there's an argument to be made, there's a reason behind it. And I think it's a very plausible argument to say that the Russell Brand shit was a distraction because all of the media were talking about it. And the online safety bill passed unscathed at the exact same time. So every single newspaper and every single radio station, it was all about Brand. Not a peep about that bill.
And he's also removed or demonetized off everything.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other reason why Brands went quiet. the only thing they were really wanting to do was stop them being monetized, and they've got that.
Aye. I mean, I don't know if he's got like a fucking PayPal or whatever what's that thing when you get monthly? I remember that. I don't know if he's got anything like that though.
Patreon.
That's the one. I don't know if he's got anything like that, but he probably does. Let's be honest.
There's a lot of folks using that locals now. Have you heard of that shit? That's Dave Rubin's fucking brainchild, isn't it? Locals.
Yeah, but it's been taken over since then.
Is it still by part of Dave Rubin's lot though?
No, somebody bought that. Actually, Rumble bought that, I think.
Are Rumble Canada based?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because everybody seems to be thinking that the arc, if you like, is going to be Rumble, but I can't put it this way. I can't see Devin starting, Black Pilled. I can't see him getting on Rumble. You know what I mean? Even though Devin Stack stuff's brilliant, do you know what I mean? I think it is.
He would definitely get on locals. And I would say probably would get on Rumble. Rumble's line is it against the law? If it's legal, you get to stay on Rumble.
Yeah, but see, they all say that initially. I mean, Bitchute says the same shit. I mean, Dangerfield, I've heard him a few times in his streams speaking about the guy that runs Bitchute. He says that they're friends or whatever, and he sung his praises that they stand up for free speech and whatnot. Well, why the fuck am I banned then? I sent him my article ages ago. Like, I got banned, and a few other people got banned because of some hit piece from some of the media in Scotland. Like, they never actually mentioned my name per se, but they quoted like specific things I'd said in videos. Bitchute fucking banned me. The arbiters of free speech. Nah, they're not though. The minute they get pressure applied to them, they'll cave.
Well, to be fair, what happened was you got the air of a Scottish minister or some shit like that, and that's who it was applied the pressure.
Ofcom
got Bitchute to ban my channel. I mean, it's not completely banned. It's banned to UK audiences, despite the fact they never actually broke the fucking law. Pretty sure they banned a few people, but I'm pretty sure it was that Danny Roscoe guy, the black guy that's like Tommy Robinson's bootlegger. Well, I'm fucking pretty sure it was him as well. He was one of the few that got banned because he said that like Scottish people are white. He got banned. We're all far right, apparently. All it took was a few hit pieces from the Scottish media, and boom, banned.
Well, there's a couple of things going on. What happens is you get someone like Hope Not Hate to put out a report or a statement and misconstrue somebody's comment, somebody's content, and then they run that story in the newspaper, and you can't actually get that taken down because whenever you go, this is untrue, the newspaper will say, actually, no, what we're saying is true because what we're saying is hate not hope said, blah, blah, blah. So our article is actually accurate. It's hope not hate. You need to sue for the retraction. And then whenever you attempt that, you're into source money and you're into very good lawyers that are working pro bono. So, or claiming the money off the government in some way. And if you come into their crosshairs, you're going to have problems no matter what channel you're on. What I will say is, whenever this all kicked off with locals and Rumble, locals and Rumble said actually hasn't done anything wrong. Fuck off. But we will see. There, the EU are currently on Rumble's case, so Rumble may end up out of the EU. But we'll see. You don't quite know what way it'll all go.
Want a video?
Yes, yes. Hook out your video, mate.
Oh, I tell you what. I saw this in the week. You might have seen it anyway because it was on, you know, the redonkulous Trevor, what's he called? Terence Pop?
Terence Pop.
Yeah, it was on his stream.
Oh,
and I thought,
you've jumped, you've monkey branch from Joker to Terence Pop.
Oh, I still watch him, but
Yeah,
I didn't know these channels existed. But this is fucking mint, I tell you.
Oh,
it's really
look
good.
up on Terence Pop's channel. Look up a Pringles can full of shit. It's whenever he was doing all his life and all their stuff about the crap he got up to whenever he's in the army, and that story is funny as fuck. But yes, right, throw up your set up that video and I'll put it up.
Where's it gone? Oh, I'll tell you now. Let me get. Here we go. I've got more tabs than a fucking cigarette factory again. How does that happen? Here we go. now then, guys. Honestly, this is when 42 plays this is just fucking. We might have to play it twice because this is absolute class. And I've called it This Month in Feminism. Is it that time of the month, love?
Oh fuck, that was excellent.
The absolute state of that woman. I mean, that's just fucking. I mean, I have no the absolute venom and vile and everything. I've worked 10 hours. Oh yeah, what have you had today? Well, let me tell you, I've had nothing. But there's the fact that somebody saw that on TikTok and then put that fucking that riff on there. Should we play it again? What you've got to do one more time. You've got to do one more. That's just fucking class. This is mint. Is it that time of the month, love? Oh, that's just unbelievable.
That was great.
Oh.
And just like that, I'm now pro-miscegenation. Fuck's sake. I don't like the term Karen because obviously the sort of like or malevolent reasoning behind it is just an excuse to shit on white women or white people in general, but like fuck off. Like sometimes it's very deserving, let's be honest. Just I don't know.
just screams out self-entitlement and, dare I say, fucking privilege. You know, fucking hell.
Right.
On
Nah.
a side note, the fucker playing the drums, was that Keemstar? Do you know
No
what
idea.
that is?
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I just
Boomers, fucking boomers, man.
well, yeah. I know the drummer from Led Zeppelin. Is that any good? No.
I don't know who that is. I know who let.
Well, he's pretty harmless. Well, half harmless. Anyway, but if you don't, yeah. no, Def Leppard. That was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have no idea about. I really don't know who played what instrument and what band or anything. I've never ever got that far involved in it.
I'll tell you what, I've kept that stencil, and when we do future end of the month, Three Men Walked into a Bar streams, I'll find the most select cuts, and I'll
Perfect.
just from TikTok, I'll just slip them into that video. We might even have one or two. We might have a couple or a few for the next time around.
Yeah.
But that one, I was watching that the other day, and I saw it, and I kept on rewinding it and replaying it because I was in absolute stitches because the music just fucking fits her fit beautifully.
All right. Now, from that, I want to move on to a more serious topic. I'll link the DJ sent me. I'm pulling this up. One person a week on average took their own life in the Highlands last year, according to new figures. I'm going to say that that's 3 men for every woman, by the way. It's an issue that understandably devastates families and friends. Organisations across the area are now coming together to offer better support to those affected, with the launch of a new strategy to tackle the issue in the Highlands. 8 aims have been set out by groups including Police Scotland, the NHS, mental health charities, including identifying those at risk, ensuring people can access support, and making more workplaces and communities aware of the issue. James Mulray was 28 when he took his own life in 2017, and now his family help others through the James Support Group, which is set up to try to prevent suicide and help those affected by it. They offer crisis helpline and regular meetings for anyone who needs it. The one thing I would question on that is which bit are they going to put their effort into? Because there's a whole fucking cottage industry for people who help the victims of suicide, which is not actually the dead people, but it's the family and friends of the people who died. I think the effort needs to be into providing services that give people better options than killing themselves. Patrick Mulray, James' dad, told STV News, James was with me for lunch one day and he took his own life. You don't know what is going on behind someone's smile, behind their eyes. If someone is struggling, I would say there's always tomorrow ahead. Get to tomorrow. Speak about how you feel. We are here to support everyone. Jenny Valentine, a temporary superintendent with Police Scotland, who also chairs the Highland Suicide Prevention Steering Group, said, we need to look at the data behind the statistics, where people are vulnerable. Is it in particular geographical areas and particular jobs? Every figure is a person and a devastated family, devastated friends, devastated work colleagues and communities. Organisations say more people are aware now that talking about how they feel can really help, but there's more to do. Emily Stokes from suicide awareness charity Milk's Line said, mental health is someone people are is some I will start this again and correct it. Mental health is something people are speaking about nowadays, but we can all do more. It's everybody's business to talk about mental health. The strategy's tagline is creating hope in the Highland, and the groups today say hope is there. It's just helping people see it. When life is difficult, Smartens are here day or night, 365 days a year. I will say the Smartens do a good job. I have product tested their service and they do a good job. You can call them free on 116-123. Email them at joesmartins.org. Blah, blah. Before I say anything else, I'm going to say that I do not believe I have a solution for everything around suicide, but I do believe I have a piece of the puzzle. Whenever it's talking about mental health and talk about mental health and all that, it is my opinion. I'm stating this as an opinion, not a fact. It's my opinion that a very large amount of men who kill themselves do so not because they have mental health issues, but because they have had a long, clear, sane look at all of their options and have chose none of the above. That obviously there's going to be people that are outside of that category, but I think they need to focus more on bricks and mortar services, places for people to go. I think homelessness is going to be an issue. Domestic abuse is going to be an issue. Certainly money is going to be an issue. And they also want to have a really good look at how much debt people are in, particularly those that are using drugs and buying drugs. And I don't know what it's like in Scotland, but in Northern Ireland, if you get behind on your drug debt, the people that are selling it put interest on it at a rate of next week that's double. And it's not very long before the person who started off owing 50 quid owes 5 grand, which next week goes to 10 grand. And if they didn't have the 5 grand and the £300 and the £600 and £900, then the £1,800, they ain't going to have that. And that's a large part of the problem as well. One that nobody really wants to talk about, but I think something needs done about that. And with that, I will pass on the thoughts from the other two panel members. Before I do that, one thing I will say, they are very correct. Hope is a very, very important thing. With you can go a long way with a little bit of hope. So there is that. They have got that right. Anyway, gentlemen.
I think it was Sensum that shared that post in the chat. I posted it to my Telegram, but I think Sensum did. So I'm just curious as to what he has to say in it, if he's even there.
I posted because you posted it in your channel, and it's the kind of thing that you and 42 often discuss. Hence, why I stuck it in there.
Just wondering what your take on it is like.
Well, they don't give a shit, do they? At the end of the day, they really don't care. If it was put it this way, in the current times and the current climes, if the same sort of statistics, etc., were surrounding women, then it would be a fucking national cause that needed to be resolved and sorted and money thrown at it left, right, and centre. But it's only us, isn't it?
Statistically, worldwide, 80% of all suicides are male.
Yeah, and another thing, which is a statistic I hadn't realised, was that I think it was I can't remember if it's males under the age of 40 or 50. I think under the age of 40, it's the leading cause of death in first world countries for young men. Yeah.
In England and Wales, it's 19 men a day.
Yeah. Now, if that was women, now, and I'm not sort of saying, two wrongs don't make a right, but what I'm saying is, in the current climate, which is what we covered earlier when we were talking about women's in bloody HR and controlling the roost and all this shit and the touchy-feely, sensitive, emotionally bullshit, yeah. If this same shit was happening on a daily basis to women, a hell of a lot more would be talked about and discussed. I mean, all of the women's that are in Parliament now, they would be bringing it up on a daily basis. They would be saying, oh, this is a national concern, blah, 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 blah. But once again, because it's the stale, male, pale white folk, white men in particular, straight white men, once again, in particular, that hated category that effectively built the fucking world, that hated category, yeah, we don't give a shit about that.
Sansom, here's the thing. So back in 2012, I'm only talking about this now because there's a point to it. Back in 2012, I left an abusive relationship. When I did that, I could not leave the mortgage payments, could not leave the credit card repayments, could not leave the loans. So I ended up working a full-time job, and out of my wages after all my bills were paid, I had £130 a month, which I was supposed to feed, clothe, and house myself. We all know that can't be done. I went to a homeless shelter. They says that'll be £650 a month, sir. I says, but I don't have that. And they were like, here's the thing. You're a man with you're currently a single man with a job. So if you want into a shelter, it's going to cost you 650 quid. I went to the housing executive and they went, yeah, we can get you into a flat because in Northern Ireland, you can't actually get housed by the council, which is what I'm currently in. At that time, it was going to be £300 a month, and I was like, yeah, I would like that, but I'm working on a budget of £130 a month, and they were like, well, technically speaking, you're a single man with a job, so you need to figure it out. So my options were, I ended up living with my parents. Had my parents decided they did not want me, then I would have been trying to live in my car on £130 a month. And so at that point, my choices were live that way. If I hadn't have had the assistance with my parents, attempt to live on £130 a month in my car and go to work, or go back to the abusive relationship for more abuse, or plan C, which is throw a rope up. That is a level of compassion there are for men within the system, even whenever they've been damaged. And we wonder why people that get themselves in that predicament, some of them stop working, sit their ass down on the side of the road and go into a benefit system, which in reality leads you into more drug abuse, alcohol abuse, because it's rife in those things, and a life living on handouts. And you're either going to slow burn or you're going to quick burn. One of those two things are pretty much inevitable. I have lobbied the government for a means tested benefit that means that people between separation and divorce, whenever all the money gets sorted out, get a means tested benefit whereby if they can prove what their wages are, which you can, if they can prove what their financial outgoings are, they can, the government will then make you up to 80% of what you had earned. Oh, and another interesting thing was whenever I told the whenever I told the housing executive and whatnot that I was still paying the mortgage and whatnot, and that's why. And says, but does your ex partner not get working family tax credits? And I says, yes, she does. She's had quite the pay rise since this happened because she's got the benefits. And it says, well, that's what she's supposed to use to pay the mortgage. I said to her, well, tell you what, I'll give you her phone number. Could you tell her that? Because she seems to think it's for a new wardrobe and weekends away. Uh, but and whenever from the bank and said, here, I'm not living in that house, but I'm still paying all the mortgage. Can you make her pay at least half of that mortgage, or preferably all of it? And they said, he earns the most money. So me. Right. Well, in that case, we can't do that. And if the mortgage stops being paid, it's you will be coming after because you're the one with the means to pay. And they wonder why. They wonder why men self-delete.
Yeah. I mean, I think it wasn't that long ago. No Chance was doing a stream, or should I say, Clive was doing a stream. My mistake. With Toffee, and I came on the last like half hour, 45 minutes or something, to talk about a remark that some guy that Ragnar had on his stream when he was on about suicide. I didn't stick around on that stream to hear like his expansion, what he was talking about, because I heard enough. But I kind of went into a bit of detail there about, you know, my past and whatnot in terms of the last few years. But something that I did say in that stream from memory was that everybody's story is different. Like each and every individual story is different. And what I mean by that is, like, for all the reasons that were kind of given earlier on, debt or whatever it may be, also as well, or abuse, depression, you know, booze, alcohol abuse, or drug abuse, or it could be even let's not beat around the bush. Even some people that commit suicide, they've done something fucking heinous and then they kill themselves after the fact. Like, everybody's story is different. But what I find quite remarkable is that per capita, the Highlands of Scotland is the suicide capital of Europe. I don't know if that's still the case for this year, but for the last several years it has been the case. I personally know a few boys that have committed suicide. I also know a girl that's committed suicide, and very recently I know a woman who committed suicide, for that matter. Something I sort of alluded to on the last stream that we did. Again, everybody's story is different and whatnot. But I think there's definitely something to be said, though, despite that, you know, you look at patterns, and there is clearly a pattern emerging across Western society, because it's not just limited to the Scottish Highlands. In that, and what I mean by that is that we live in a society where every facet of said society has been infiltrated by the progressives, the left, whatever the fuck you want to call them, and it's all anti-white male. And because of that, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to suggest that some, not all, because everybody's story is different, but some of the men that are committing suicide, and the young men in particular, because it's people in their 20s all the way up to their 40s, that's the majority age range. It's because of the way society is. I can't help but feel that. I think it would be wrong of me to say that that's the main culprit, because, as I said, everybody's story is different. But it can't be ignored that we live in a society now where young white boys fall behind in school, young white men and white men in general, all of the things that would have inspired them to become men when, you know, in the generations gone by, you know, looking for a wife, settling down, being the man of the house, all of these things are fucking gone. They're gone. And we live in a society now where, you know, feminism played a major role, but it's not just women that we can shit on here. Like, men are equally at fault here, or men from days gone by and whatnot. But the way that society used to be structured is no longer the case anymore. So men and women do not seek partners, lifelong partners. Families aren't being created and whatnot. These things are all gone. And I think that plays a role in why a lot of men turn to drugs and drink, if I'm honest. I'm not saying all, because everybody's story is different, as I said. But when you are sort of biologically wired to seek and yearn for specific things, and they are removed from your life before it's even fucking started, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to suggest that quite possibly that might play a role in a decline in your mental health. You know? I can't help but feel that. I mean, even me, myself, now, I'm in a much better place than I was years ago. But, like, it could have been very different for me a few years ago. In fact, I say it was last year, for fuck's sake. Could have been very different. There is a, in an alternative universe, I wouldn't be sat here right now with a microphone. Wouldn't be. And I suffered in silence. There's plenty of organizations out there that I could have gone to, but the point I was trying to make on the stream with No Chance and Toffee, which I don't think I kind of got across the way that I wanted to articulate it, was that I felt that shit at the time that I didn't even realize or didn't even care enough to start just to seek help. I didn't give a fuck. And that's the problem. So many people are suffering in silence, and they just go about their day. They go from A to B, etc. And as that article that you posted or shared a second ago sort of alluded to, like behind the smile, that's the issue. Like people, when you feel that way, when you become that low, you don't feel that you can go and seek it because you don't give a fuck. That's what's sad, really. But yeah, I've rambled there for a bit, yeah.
Right. Two things, DJ. First thing we'll say is, see, whenever you're at your worst, you don't know it. It takes somebody from outside to say to you, here, you're on a downward spiral, because I've been there as well and didn't realize it was as bad as what it was. The second thing I will say is, the guy that was on Dangerfield stream, Tim, he was not talking about people that commit suicide. He was talking about one specific person who was a very high-ranking member of. He was the high-ranking officer in the RAF, and for years and years and years, he had ran all the stuff about suicide prevention in the RAF, and he eventually didn't seek any help, but he told everybody else to seek. Didn't do any of the stuff that he was telling everybody else to do, and killed himself. And that's the individual person he was talking about. He wasn't talking about people in general.
Well, I mean, I turned the fucking stream off when I heard that. Yeah. To be fair, but all I heard was him make reference to it's cowardice to kill yourself. I'm not having that. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, you're not going to get away with saying shit like that because it's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
If anything, and I mean, I can't speak for everybody when I say this, but the thought of death fucking terrifies me, ironically enough. It absolutely terrifies me, and I think there's a lot to be said about somebody who gets the cojones to fucking do it. A lot has to be said, but that said, I mean, it's not something that I would at any point elevate and say, on yourself, lad. No, I'm just saying anybody that insinuates in any capacity that it's cowardice to kill yourself is just a fucking cunt. I'm sorry. It's just, I mean, I'm just fucking horrible. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he did elaborate and whatnot, but all I heard was what I heard that night, and I'm not having it. But yeah,
I had missed that part of the stream, so I went back and rewatched it because I wanted to figure out exactly what he said. It was that one individual person, and because of things that he'd done previously, and I think he did it because he didn't want to face the consequences of some other stuff, and that's. But he wasn't saying that people in general. He was saying this one individual.
Well, fuck it, man. It was a couple of months ago there, like. I don't know the guy. I'll probably never watch him anyway because he came across as a bit of a fucking cuck anyway with his takes on certain things. But yeah, That's what I heard that night. I mean, I was listening to the stream all the way up the road. Like I didn't hear his elaboration after the fact, but I heard what I heard. Like, and that was enough.
Yeah. Toffee's got a disagreement with me. Here, Toffee, we don't need to agree. It's, we can have different opinions. But there you go. That's what I took out of what he said. Haven't said that. Could be wrong. Been wrong before. I'll be wrong again.
Who was that who said it? I missed that.
It was
first opening.
Tim, the ex fighter pilot.
Oh, Tim bloody thingy on Rags' stream.
Yes.
Tim Peak, is it? Peak?
I don't know.
Yeah, sounds
about
about right.
I can't remember what he said, but he said something about having like black friends or something. Oh, for fuck's sake. You're like epitomizing the meme. I'm not racist, I've got black
Oh,
friends.
it's Scott Adams too.
Yeah, like, fucking hell, man. Oh, I've got black friends, I'm not racist. Like, just fuck off.
Well, when it comes to self-deletion, there's only one thing that you do know, and that was that Jeffrey Epstein definitely did do himself.
Oh, I don't think he's
100%.
fucking dead, to be honest, though.
Wasn't Clinton. Don't even think about any of that kind of crap.
I just find that story very bizarre, to be honest. I genuinely don't think he's dead. The reason being because it's like the narrative is sort of presented in a way where you're supposed to think he must have been offed. You know? Like, obviously they say he committed suicide, but the narrative, oh, the cameras were off, the seats, the security guards were nowhere in sight, etc. So people go, ha, they're trying to tell you that he killed himself, but he was clearly offed. I think that it's a bit too weird. Like, why would they even allow that sort of information to be publicized? The way that they presented all of these very questionable steps in chain of events even, to lead you to conclude that the narrative is that he was killed as opposed to committed suicide. I think he's living high in the hog in the Tel Aviv, Habibi.
Nah, he's not walking and talking.
Well, you can't prove that the same way I can't. Mic drop.
Yeah. No, I honestly think he's dead.
He might be.
I also think he had a bit of help with it.
One of those things we'll never know, mate.
No, we will not. It would take some.
I just think if they wanted to convince the public that he killed himself, then why would they unveil a narrative that would have you believe he must have been killed? It's very weird.
Oh, the thing about it is they're not hiding very well.
No, but the debate is over whether or not he killed himself or whether he was killed. Yeah. I just think that's a very, very lovely little manufactured distraction. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. The other one, McAfee, it's hard to tell. There's he had something tattooed on his arm. It said I'm not sure what it was. I think it was off. He had tattooed on his your man McAfee, the anti-virus guy. They came after him for tax. They were trying to say that he was obviously still earning an income and that he needed to pay his tax, and that's what they come after him for. And he ended up dead in a prison.
Well, you just never know, mate. Fuck knows. See, on a side note though, just in regards to the Highlands, like I had an article open here. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it was just to show you some stats because Inverness has been fucking crazy the last few years. Like, I'll share the screen because it's got the statistics here, like not for suicides per se, but for what they call police incidents. Now, obviously, what they mean by that is people that are on the bridge trying to kill themselves. Not all are successful, thankfully, but they obviously don't want to sort of advertise it the same way that they don't wish to advertise it when somebody walks out in front of a train, because it might give other people that are that way inclined ideas. So it's just simply classified as a police incident. But the stats are pretty fucked. Like, is my screen sharing?
Yep.
There we go. So this is from this year. More than 200 Keswick Bridge closures in 2022, which is a 5-year high. So obviously, it's last year. But it says that officers were called to 203 concern for welfare incidents where someone is at risk of serious harm or a potential suicide. In 2021, there was 120 incidents, and in 2020, there was 69, slightly fewer than in 2019, where there was 85. Right. The figures obtained by the Press and Journal through a freedom of information legislation come as police and Highland Council and other agencies consider ways to tackle the situation. Some of the ways that they've gone about this is to install new CCTV, and efforts to tackle the North's growing mental health crisis are also ongoing. I don't know if it mentions it in this article. It might do. Does it? Concerns are mounting about the mental health crisis. On Tuesday night, police and ambulance were called to Keswick Bridge, and a full-scale rescue got underway as a body was found in North Keswick. I don't know if it does mention it in this article, but they've also installed, there's like a fucking phone box thing that people can phone if they head to the bridge and they have some of these sort of thoughts. But like, this has become such a prolific problem up here, and traffic comes to a standstill, which has been a fucking bit of a, don't get me wrong, a pain in the arse. Where I'm working, obviously, I'm across the bridge. So quite often this year, as well as last year, the bridge would be closed, and just traffic would come to a standstill because people are heading to that bridge. Some take their own life, some attempt to take their own life, and some stand there and contemplate it. And it's fucked up. Yeah, even about 3-4 months ago, I took a week off work, went on holiday. Me and the missus, we drove up to like Thurso and that, then we sort of did like the NC 500. As we were driving across the bridge, there was a guy standing there who, just naturally you assume the worst because of the sort of gravitas of the amount of people that have been doing it. I got my missus to phone the police that day. She reported this guy acting a bit suspicious. Thankfully, nothing came of it. We checked the media and whatnot as the day went on. Obviously, the police would have gone to investigate. The guy was just obviously stood there admiring the view, but because of the amount of people that have taken their own life via that bridge, I felt compelled to get my missus to phone the police. I did at the time hope that if the worst case scenario was that he intended to do what he did, that I had interjected potentially before it was too late. But I think as it stands, he was fine. But it's just such a fucking prolific issue up here, and I don't necessarily know why. I certainly don't have the solutions, but I sure as hell don't have the answers as to why it's so bad up here. I really don't know. It's bad all across the West, especially where young white men are concerned, but particularly in the Highlands of Scotland. I don't know why, but per capita, suicide capital of Europe. It's a horrible statistic.
Is the employment opportunities noticeably worse in the Highlands than elsewhere?
Now that you say that, that might actually make sense, in the sense that the Highlands is such a large constituency, whereas the rest of Scotland's broken up into a multitude of different little constituencies, their own councils and whatnot, whereas the Highlands covers a massive portion of land, and some of it is very sparsely populated. So obviously employment opportunities aren't going to be as great in number as opposed to Inverness. Inverness is the only city. The rest of it's just small towns, if that, villages and islands. So maybe that is a factor in it. I don't know.
I know that North Belfast is the most commonplace in Belfast for suicides. There's more suicides in North Belfast than there is in Southwest or East. North Belfast had troubles before the fucking troubles were a thing. It has always been very, very badly deprived area. It's always been slightly more alcoholic than anywhere else. It's currently more druggy than anywhere else. And it seems that those things all go hand in hand.
Yeah. Now that you mention that, I mean, on the subject of drugs and whatnot, that's another thing that Scotland's rife for: drug deaths, drug death capital of Europe, alcohol deaths sky high, record high. I don't know if they're the alcohol death capital of Europe, but drug death capital of Europe is bad enough. And I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I can't. When you put it all in, when you look at it for what it all is, statistically speaking and whatnot, I think it's just an absolute damning indictment of society, really. You know, I'm not really much of an advocate for empire and whatnot, but let's be honest here. The United Kingdom ran the fucking world at one point, and now, in the remnants of it, what do we have? We have young white men en masse drinking themselves into oblivion, taking drugs and killing themselves, and that's fucked.
From the enter school, they're told that they're bad, that they're wrong, they're the cause of all the shit. And anybody who thinks that doesn't have a effect on it is, you know, we need to change what we're teaching people, particularly boys. We need to get away from the idea that it's perfectly reasonable for the majority of white working class boys to leave school without a GCSE in English and maths. We need to get away from the idea that the cause of the world's problems is white men and demonizing them. And then we do that, and then we look surprised that they don't want to be here anymore. Really? We could even actually do with, teaching them to respect themselves. That would probably help. Get some self-respect. Let them achieve things.
I think that ship sailed. I think it's incumbent on each other to do that, because society isn't going to do it. There's programs in place for every so-called marginalized group under the sun. There is fuck all for white boys, and that is a sad reality. Now, of course, that's going to be enough to tip some people over the edge. I've never used that as an excuse per se for my reasons back in the day, because I had my issues in my late teens going into my early 20s, but I was completely none the wiser as to the sort of trajectory of society back then. Like, in terms of like everything being anti-white male in particular, never knew any of that shit back when I was like 18, 19. But even the shit that I was going through last year and whatnot, that was very much a personal issue as opposed to a societal one. But I'm not deluded to believe that societal issues are not playing a major role in why quite a lot of young white men, if not end up becoming a suicidal statistic, at the very bare minimum become, compelled to take drugs and whatnot. It's fucked up. It's fine. Do you know what? I'll also say on a side note, irrespective of what fucking colour or creed anybody is from, male or female, black or white, the idea that somebody feels that the only way out of their life is fucking suicide, I just think it's abhorrent.
Yeah,
I would agree 100% with you there, DJ. And when you say about the societal things, like you say, the Highlands of Scotland are relatively, I won't say completely, but relatively unscathed when it comes to the societal damage that the big cities in England have encountered, particularly through, bloody replacement regimes, blah, 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 mass migration and all that kind of caper. But one thing that I reckon as well is, it's a trite thing to say, but I say this with all sincerity. When people say, the Scots are a proud nation, they are a fucking proud nation, and rightly so, because when we were running the world, when Great Britain was fucking running the world, that halcyon sort of 100 or so year period, the Scots of that time, they featured far more prominently than any other group in the British Isles. And I'm not blowing smoke up your arse, but the problem is, a lot of Scottish people know that. And what have they been reduced to now? The same as England, the same as Wales. And that, to me, is one of the greatest fucking travesties that we'll ever do, because, pride is a real thing. They say it's a sin, but pride in one nation's shouldn't be a sin. And like I say, Scotland around the world, if you look at the per capita of people, especially when you look at like the 19th and early 20th centuries, was a fraction of the number of people in the British Isles. And yet their innovation, their science, their skills, their diplomacy as well, in a lot of cases, literally, to quote Neil Oliver, resonated around the world. It literally did. So you go from that to fucking rat-infested, litter-strewn cities, beautiful cities. Let's face it, Glasgow is a beautiful city, just like Liverpool is, just like Newcastle is, just like Belfast is. And to see that in a morass of filth and the fact that the people who should be caring, these imposters that exist in these fucking parliaments or assemblies or what the fuck ever, are doing their utmost to destroy it. Is it any wonder? I'm with you on that one, 42, because I do think if you haven't got a purpose in life, in other words, like a meaningful role in life, that's a massive kick in the nuts. Similarly, with societal issues like once and all, completely demonizing what would be traditionally called the family unit, that's another thing. But also that knowledge of, how great you were, and yet this is where you are now. It's fucking, for me, it's fucking heartbreaking. It's tragic. Plus, also, this is why all of these Johnny-come-latelys like your Graham Campbells and your Kahindi fucking Andrews and all these other cunts who have no right to fucking be here, they can never understand that, because they come from backgrounds that never had that amount of influence or control, which is why they try to either annex it for themselves or usurp it as being something hateful and wrong. They'll never understand. They'll never understand the loss that nations such as Britain and the individual countries like Scotland, like Wales, like Northern Ireland, like England, they'll never understand what we're actually losing when we talk about our heritage, and that is because we know how great we were. You might have been, the King Dick in your little fucking village with your 2-story max buildings that you had, because like I say, we only turned up in these countries in sort of the late sort of 15th and 16th centuries, but at that point in time, you had places like Durham Cathedral. You had places like Dunstanburgh Castle. You had all these fucking buildings like the Tower of London, all of these different palaces and these big fucking pomp and circumstance and everything. And we had all of these things that they never had. And we're to blame for that? Well, I'm sorry, but if you were all the fucking shit, you were the King Dicks of the fucking world, or you want us to believe that, we would have been kangs had it not been for you fucking, people fucking coming to our countries and doing all this. Guess what, guys? We've only been there for a few hundred years. What the fuck were you doing for the other 1,000 years where we were doing this kind of shit, you cunts? Don't try and say that you were as good as us. You weren't, Yeah, just by fluke of chance of landmass, Egypt is part of Africa. But don't fucking claim those pyramids and all that shit had anything to fucking do with you sub-Saharan cunts, because it fucking didn't. I'm sorry, but there it is. You fuckers had fuck all to do with anything outside of your local villages and the little fucking interludes that you might have had between them and then and them and them and then. Because you didn't need to. Because all of the resources that you needed, all of the climate that you needed, your nation lived on the easy setting. Our nation, in fucking freezing cold winters, we had to learn how to store things and preserve things and to farm and to make things easier for ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fucking survived. Necessity breeds innovation. So we became very innovative. We became very fucking clever. And we were able to do that and expand our reaches. So like I say, don't come to us and say, oh, we would have done exactly the same thing as you had you not come to our countries. No, fuck off, because when we did get to your countries that are pretty much the fucking same as they are now, right? You had that same 1,000 years of no Roman occupation to do exactly the same fucking things we did. And guess what? You did fuck all. Sorry if that pisses you off, but that's the way it is. And I think that combined with those other factors, that sense of helplessness and that sense of, not even pining for, all the past greats, but that knowledge that you were so, it is a factor. I feel that anyway. I feel that, and it especially irritates me when I get people who are sort of even, younger than DJ, who I encounter, and I'm, I don't try and bloody red pill them, but I sort of slips things in, and they come out with the most fucking nonsensical fucking arguments. Like, I literally had one the other day where they were saying, yeah, well, the thing is, what happens if, when I'm talking about immigration, because it came up, and it was the usual bullshit of, well, oh yeah, but what happens if they come here and they want to work and they want to? I said, well, God bless them, but you fucking tell me one job that they can do that a British person can't, and they can't. They've got no answer, and then they go tilt, and it's like, oh, you're just anti-climate, or some other bullshit. But I think it's a combination. 42, like what you were saying, is if unemployment is high, it depresses people, because when men aren't the breadwinners or the earners or whatever, they feel lesser. And once again, that is a very, very European mindset to have. Yeah. But when you combine that with how great a nation it was, and these other fuckers who, like I say, even though they're in here and enjoying the benefits of all the shit that our fucking forebears had to put up with, laugh at us and ridicule us and diminish us to their best, to their best ability, like a fucking Kahindi Andrews, like a Afua Hirsch, like a fucking Ash Sarkar, right? They can never fucking understand, that sense of greatness and that sense of thing. And it is demoralizing. And sometimes people just say, well, you know what? I'm just going to opt out. Now, it doesn't mean the old self-deletion, but you can understand how people end up in that spiral of depression. I'm only fortunate that I've never had to suffer that kind of thing. Well, I'm not saying I haven't been upset, but I wouldn't say it was depression. So I find myself very, very lucky. And even in the 80s, when I was growing up, well, like I say, the 80s were my formative years. But even in the 80s, bloke who was a neighbour a few doors down, he self-deleted, and nobody saw it coming, because outwardly, he was the most pleasant, happy-go-lucky bloke. Everybody was absolutely fucking shocked. And the same thing happened, our local milkman, once again. Always had a smile on his face. Hadn't got a bad word to say about anybody. Fucking boom, gone. What? But nobody understands, because it's that silent scream. Because for so long, men were told, you need to bottle it up, stiff upper lip and all that kind of crap. And so they did. And now the other problem is, if they do come out and they do show any feeling or do anything like that, they are considered weak. You can't have it fucking both ways. It's even if you try and resolve the problem or people try and talk about it, you still get cast in that thing. So I understand what DJ was saying about that Tim Peake, who, he may have had a bit of context there, but it's not just as simple as saying, oh, they're all weak-minded imbeciles, they're just fucking cowards. It's not as fucking simple as that. It really fucking isn't.
We have two generations that are mourning the demise of a society that they never even got to see, and it has caused a lot of confusion, and that's part of what the problem is. And you're right about what you're saying about lack of work and stuff. Men need a function. They need something to achieve. They need something to do. They need, as they grow older, they need younger men to mentor. We have an absence of, where I work, we've an absence of young men in the workplace, so you've nobody to mentor. We have lost so much of what would have been a normal existence for a British person, and that has to have a detrimental effect on everybody.
Yeah. And I think as well, like as Sansom alluded to there, pretty good speech, by the way, bud. You should probably clip that.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to go on, but when I
No, I'm being
fucking
serious when I say that.
irritates
There,
me.
like
It
it's
irritates me, do you know
clip-worthy
what I
that.
mean?
But
Well,
I do
yeah,
think,
yeah.
I think sadly, it's like a sort of. I don't want to like generalize because, as I said, every story is different. But I do think that there's definitely an aspect of what's biologically hardwired, in the sense that the natural pecking order for every animal, for that matter, not just humans, is men or male animals seek a partner and whatnot. And these things used to be a lot easier to be obtained because females back in the day wanted the same thing. Whereas now, females are a lot more career driven or promiscuous. And that's not to suggest that men on average are not just the same way inclined nowadays. But deep down within them, they're missing something from their life, And then materialism comes into effect as well, where they're comparing each other against one another. You're not earning enough money. Well, women might not necessarily look at you, but you see yourself as lesser to your peers, your friends, if you've got friends and whatnot. There's another argument to be made. Loneliness is a fucking killer these days. Goes back to the conversation earlier on about the internet. So many people nowadays spend far too much time online. They might have a job to go to, but when they come home, they're spending all their time online. They might have friends that they speak to in some sort of capacity, whether that be on the Xbox or Discord or the PlayStation, whatever the case may be. They're not interacting in the real world. I don't really have many friends, if any, in real life. My only interactions in real life come from the people that I work with. The friends that I've got online, my closest friends, Scott's Armor, no chance. There was another boy called John who's going through some shit just now. Scott's Armor sort of disappeared off the face of the map again. Kind of leaves me with Clive, and I barely hear from Clive anymore. So yeah, there's been many days the last month or so where I felt a bit shite, but you just get on with it. But for other people, they might not necessarily even have that. Oh, there's so many different things that I can think of that kind of go a long way to explain why people can feel the way that they do. There's not one simple answer. And I sure as fuck, as I said, don't have solutions. But what we can do as people that care about our kids, something that is lacking, absolutely lacking for the vast majority of our kin on the grand scheme of things. What we have that they don't is the ability to care for our own. These people don't realize that they're a kin yet. They see themselves as individuals. Individualism as well as materialism has really taken over. But we are a collective, whether we like it or not. We see ourselves as a collective. So the onus is on us to fucking be there for your peers, reach out and whatnot. That's all you can do. Because I guarantee you this, and I know this is going to sound very, very sort of blackpilling. I guarantee, because ignorance is bliss, as the expression goes, there will be a lot of people within our spheres, whether it's people in this chat or just in the wider sphere in general, that feel shit about themselves or feel shit because of the way society's going, hence the term black-pilled, So always be a helping hand if you feel that somebody needs it. It's my 2 cents.
That was very well said, DJ. I think I've probably said as much as I can say on this subject.
Well,
it
let's let one last subject then before you go. Where did he go in the chat? Let's sort of lighten the mood, I guess. Well, we can see where it goes. National Housing Party UK president.
UK.
I don't know which individual it is commenting, but nonetheless, because there's a few of them, he said something up there somewhere about Labour, Lib Dems, and the Con or Conservatives being finished. Do you see that to be the case?
Well, if you look at the recent by-elections, the Reform Party, which is Richard Teeth's gatekeeping bit of red meat for the so-called Conservative massive, they took 3.5%. So you think to yourself, yeah, well, that's fuck all. It is fuck all, but the one thing that you would say about that is that the margin of defeat from Labour in the Tory-held constituency, that difference, if, put it this way, if Reform Party hadn't existed and the other people had to pinch their nose and vote Conservative, Tories would have won that seat quite comfortably. Yeah, so while much in the same vein as the gatekeeper party that was UKIP, while they won't have any inherent power themselves, they can become kingmakers in so much that in those seats that the Tories desperately want to retain, that I want to see destroyed, and I would urge everybody to vote for Labour in those constituencies, much to DJ's chagrin, because we need the Tory party to be fucking removed. We can't have a party, any party, doesn't matter which one it is, until that rancid carcass that's called the Conservative Party is finally put to death. It is cremated, and then out of the ashes we get a true Conservative with the National Interest Party coming out of that. Until that happens, while there's still a glimmer of life, almost like Count Dracula, he's just fucking bones and dust, but a couple of drops of blood, oh, woof, he's back up and he's out biting necks again. I just want the Tories fucking destroyed. So, yeah, they are a busted. Well, the problem is they are a busted flush. Unfortunately, not everybody are like us. So they're going to vote Tory or Labour, either because they've always voted Tory or Labour, or because they think that, oh, it's going to be better under one of those two parties. And we know that they are literally the uni party now. It doesn't matter who you vote for. So, like I say, everybody hates them, but there is no real alternative. The only alternative is, vote for a Reform Party if they're running a candidate in your area, or, one of the A and other parties. I would always say if you've got a true independent, in other words, somebody, and by that I mean, if you've got National Housing Party UK, to me, they are true independents because they're independent of the Lib Lab Con Green bullshittery. Yeah. Vote for them. I would always vote for a true independent. The problem I have is what we will see over the next 6 months in particular is probably something like the Reform Party gaining traction, and then there'll be deals done, just like what there was with UKIP, because Farage, in respect, because Reform is nowhere near the levels of support that Farage got with UKIP. Farage twice had the opportunity to destroy the Tory party, and both times he opted out and let those fuckers survive. And so much so that in 2020, they went on to get such a fucking huge majority, and within a term, it's going to be decimated. Now, yes, they've had COVID in there, but also amongst that, they've also had record highs of immigration, both legal and illegal. And let's face it, the Brexit vote was a referendum on immigration at the end of the day. It literally fucking was. And what have the Tories done after all of those promises? Increased it. So, no, I don't think they're a done deal. But, you know, I just hope the Tories get fucking destroyed. I really do. Even though we know Labour's going to be so fucking shit. But the thing is, the bounce back from Labour being so fucking shit will be a party, hopefully, that has fuck all to do with the Tories and genuinely has the concerns of the British people at heart. Not fucking thousands of miles away, whether that's in Eastern Europe or in the Middle East or wherever, but our own fucking people. You know? That's what needs to happen.
I wrote a blog post about 2 weeks ago called "We Need Amateur Politicians." Let me clarify what I mean by amateur. Right? To me, a professional politician is someone who is well versed in the way the Parliament runs, the rules, the regulations, what they need to say. They are well connected with the civil service, and they are only interested in the next election cycle and the next round of funding. To me, an amateur politician is someone who has come into politics not because they see it as a job, but they can no longer stand seeing the country being ripped apart by these professional politicians, and has come out and got themselves involved and want to stand in order to make things better, of which I would class the National Housing Party UK. That would put them in the amateur, but it's not a slur. They are organised. They're sussed out. They're a good bunch of men and women. I nearly said lads are, but we need the independents. That's who we need to vote for. We cannot vote for these professional politicians any longer, because all they're going to do is take us fucking down. And the difference between Labour and Conservative currently is Conservative will do it slower, but they're still going to do it. I don't see any Conservative policies that are properly bedded in conserving anything. Not the British people, not the British way of life, not the British political system, because believe me, that's going to go as well. We need we need to vote for grassroots politicians. If you want to hear my longer, more thought out version of that, go read my blog post.
It's funny hearing Farage keeps getting mentioned. Like, fucking, just to that point there about the Tories, like, is there not talk now that Farage is apparently hinted that he might stand for it as a Tory, as if he wasn't a Tory to begin with, but like he could be running the party in a few years. I'm sure I read that. I don't know if anything else has come off that, but that could be argued that because the Tories are on the decline, well, let's just get Farage back, get Farage in and, yet again, circle the wagons, so to speak, for any disillusioned voters. But see, the thing that sort of, I'm very pessimistic with all things voting, as I've made no secret of, but I just look at Scotland with the recent council election in Rutherglen. Labour won, obviously, but because it was never going to be a Tory in Scotland. But the Scottish Family Party, now I don't really like them in regards to the fact that they're very cacked on immigration. but they said a lot of the right things in relation to like 99% of every other issue that's taking place, politically speaking, from your climate BS to all the LGBT nonsense, etc., etc. They were balls deep in all that stuff. And the guy, Neil Fraser, even appeared on Clive's stream a couple of days or a couple of weeks before the election took place. And he said quite clearly and plainly that he was under no illusion that he was going to win the election. But from the sort of responses he was getting at the door, the vast majority of people that he spoke to were sick to death of the sort of mainstream parties. They agreed with 99%, if not everything, that he was saying to them. So the sort of consensus was that the vast majority of the people, the silent majority, all agree with this guy. You go and look at the fucking the votes that guy got in that election. Pretty depressing, in all honesty. And what I mean by that is that, you know, as he said himself, he knew he wasn't going to win. But despite the vast majority of people agreeing with him, or at least saying to his face that they agreed with him, still wasn't enough for him to get any sort of substantial vote. It was a pitiful percentage point they got. I don't even think it was 1% from memory. I can't remember. But like, that's depressing. So people might agree with you. The same with like PE and that. They go about leafleting. Oh, the vast majority of people come up to us and they agree with us. Yeah, that's great, but it doesn't materialize. You know,
we have a job of education right here. Say Martin W. saying he would suggest nobody ever vote again. It's pointless. Here's the thing. Currently, we, as the land sits at the minute, we do not hold the votes. However, if everybody that doesn't vote and everybody that's not on the electoral register could be convinced to lend their vote to independent parties, in one election cycle, we could take the whole fucking country.
Yeah, you could, but that's again like that's idealistic, and it's possible, but it's just never going to happen.
I understand it's idealistic, but maybe one or two constituencies is possible.
Oh yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. And I think you're more inclined to be successful in a council election as opposed to a parliamentary seat. But you know, yes, granted, the silent majority do have the power if they so choose to wield it. But it's just, and that's not even me being blackpilling. It's just never going to happen. You're never going to be able to get enough people up and down the country to stop voting for a particular party in favor of an up-and-coming legitimate independent. It's just not going to happen. People have to make their own decisions, and from the vast majority of people, they're either stuck voting for the same shit or they don't give a shit. You know, it'd be nice to think that you could get enough people to do it, but personally, I just don't see it.
Yeah.
You'd have as much of a chance of getting people to stop voting completely as you would to get everybody to vote a specific way.
Well, I wouldn't be saying vote a specific way. I would be saying vote independent.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like independent, you would be just as much of a chance of stopping or convincing everybody to stop voting completely as you would convincing everybody to vote independent.
Do you know what you would actually have? Do you know what you'd actually have a better chance of doing? Getting people to vote for the Munster Raven Rooney Party as a joke. See if people thought it was a joke and they were having a laugh at the system.
Yeah.
Yep, and that went viral. It could actually fucking happen.
Well, they're more plausible than the Green Party, that's for fucking sure. That's for damn sure, man. Shit, sorry. I'm open my tobacco.
Yeah. What do you smoke these days, DJ? What baccy do you smoke?
Kane's at his club.
Do you know I like what was it called?
What, Gold Virginia?
No, Gold Leaf. But I tell you, I like drum as well. Bit of a darker.
Which one?
The dark drum, the dark one.
The one that used to be blue before they took away the colours.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have I only have a rollie when I go around me be cousins now, but I used to like that. Yeah. I'll put a link in 42, which is far more serious news. I don't know if you
Oh.
want to share that. Yeah.
Charity shop in Swansea asks people not to donate sex toys.
Yes, it's Dr. Bernardo's. Customers have been asked to refrain from donating used and unused marital aids, as they aren't quite the sort of toys we're looking for.
Right, this is not the Onion.
No, this is Sky. This is Sly. Well, it might as well be. It's Sky. Yeah. A charity shop has asked people not to donate sex toys after recent X-rated donations. In a social media post, Bernardo's branch in Corson in Swansea was keen to remind people that it's a children's charity, and it said had a range of ages on its volunteer team. Therefore, we ask you refrain from donating your used and unused marital aids, the branch said in a statement. Customers were also reminded that the branch has CCTV so that these items can be traced back to their owners.
What the fuck?
According to the Bernardo's website, other items its branches cannot accept include car booster seats. Why not? Why not? Why can't they accept car booster seats? That's for kids, isn't it? One of those
There's
safety nonsenses.
No, well, there could be biological matter and stuff in there that needs. I can see that one.
But you can take the covers off and wash them, can't you? Do you know what I mean? Anyway,
No,
mattresses, yeah, I understand that. Lecky blankets and white goods such as washing machines or fridge freezers. A spokesperson for Bernardo said the charity was always hugely appreciative of donations from the community, but we need a little less of the KY jelly. There you go. So what do you reckon to that one then?
Who the fuck is taking that?
Yeah, this rampant rabbit. It's not got the same punch as it had, but it's still usable. It's still usable.
What the fuck? People are, yeah. That makes no sense. Who the fuck thinks? Yeah, that's exactly what they need. Couple of dildos. Fuck. Yeah.
Well, there you go. These are all the serious
Well,
the serious stories.
well, while we're on the subject of dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. Devastated couple facing £11,000 gas bill after being told they owe for 18 years. A couple has been hit with a huge bill of nearly £11,000 after being told they need to pay for 18 years worth of gas at their home. Lee James, 44, and partner Joe Woody, 45, says they did everything to try and pay after moving there in 2005, but nobody could work out whose responsibility the gas supply was, so they gave up asking. So basically, they went into their new house and they've tried absolutely everything to try and find out who they should be paying their gas to, and couldn't find out. And the gas kept coming through, so they didn't bother. They just thought, "Oh fuck, we've got free gas." Did not start getting an envelope and sticking 30 quid or whatever they reckoned it would be a month in the envelope, so that whenever a day like this did come, they had some money saved. No, they just fucking forgot about it. Neither did they go to their solicitor, who had obviously dealt with buying the house, to get in contact with the previous owners and say, here having a bit of bother figuring out who the gas comes from, who were you with? No, did none of that. And now they're all surprised and devastated because they owe 11 fucking grand. Thoughts?
I'm going to call this now. The fact that they're saying, "Oh, we didn't know to pay," yeah, chinny fucking wreck on. You thought you got away with it, and when you got found out, oh, now the waterworks start and all the excuses start. Any fucker who says, "Oh, well, we just didn't know who to pay," but not thinking that you did have to pay somebody, yeah, fuck you, chinny wreck on, But once again, they'll get away with it if they fucking got the right bloody background, like fucking
Oh well,
Benny background.
they're waiting McMate. They're the weightiest weights that ever waited. So they're going to be paying for it, but you can't.
Well,
expect...
unless they benefit mongers, because then they'll enter into some agreement. Oh well, we'll pay you £1 a month for 3 million years or something.
Yeah,
that's what usually happens. If you're a straight down the line, you're not a scrote, as I call them, a scrote. You'll get the fucking hammer, and they'll come and take your fucking house off you and all that lot. But scrotes, as I said before, they know how to work the system. They know all of the loopholes, and they know all of the right people to get in touch with. Where anybody who says, "Well, you need to fucking pay this, otherwise we're going to take the stuff off you," they'll be the first ones who'll know exactly every single loophole and every single, "Oh, well, you can't do that because some reasons, or there'll be some bullshitty reasons." And like I say, they do look like those fucking, what was that fucking Brassic. They look like the fuckers off Brassic, so they'll probably know how to skin the system like a fucking kipper. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm not buying that they simply couldn't figure out who to pay. I think bills didn't come through. They thought we're going to ask a couple of questions here. Well, take a note of who we asked, and we'll just skim on. And obviously, we get free gas now. 18 fucking years.
The worst thing about that was it was the bill that they owed was probably only about 200 quid. Well, no, 500 quid at the end of at the start of 2020. The other 18 grand's happened in the last fucking 3 years. Oh, because of course it was Pootie time, wasn't it?
Oh, well, there's the other thing. They didn't even have the sense to go, fuck, we've had 15 years of free gas, let's move.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've had that happen to me before, the last 2 times, which obviously is not in, but so I kept on getting tapped up from various companies, saying, "Oh, you owe this. Oh, we realize you've moved into the." I'm saying, "Well, I moved into then at this point in time. Yeah, right on this dot here, but there's no way I've used that amount of electricity because guess what? I took all of the meter readings and recorded them. So where are you getting this figure from? Or are you charging doubloons for your fucking gas these years? You know what I mean? This week, because they'll try it on because they know they can't get the fucking money off the people who left, so they'll try and get off the people who are there now. Cunts. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, as soon as my gas and my electric have always been pay as you go, so I don't have that problem. But it took me a good 2 days to find out which company supplied my gas and which company supplied my electric.
Well, honestly, the last gav I moved into, right, because where it was going to be a month difference between when it was actually mine and when I was going to move. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I got through the door. There was 4 foot deeper letters from fucking EDF and fucking the water board and all sorts, all telling me what I needed to pay them. So these fuckers saying, "Oh, we just didn't." Yeah, fuck off. I bet they could make a bonfire every year just out of the letters they were getting off these companies. You know what I mean?
I reckon what they've done is they've found the one company that they were supposed to be paying to, and then wrote to every other company to
Yeah.
have a trace it saying we tried.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 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 That'd be the usual dodge. Yeah. What about you, DJ? You buying their story, mate?
Chancers sort of springs to mind, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then,
Fuck scum.
yeah, thought they were onto a good thing, and then the chickens came home to roost, I suppose. But I think I'd probably be tempted to go along with it myself, in all honesty, if I was with somebody and like, oh, by the way, I haven't been getting charged for my gas. I'd be like, fucking sound. Only a matter of time before they got found out. Oh, well.
Well, the other thing is they say, like, are you always thought, well, we've only just moved in. We'll pay you from June of this year, but after that, fuck that, we've just moved in. Because the companies, have they got access to those kind of records? I don't know if they have or not. You can literally just say, well, we've only been.
It seems like they have, because their excuse for not paying it was we tried to contact everybody in such and such a date 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Sansom, is that a new one that you've put in there?
Yeah, I think it is, mate. Yeah.
All right,
It's another tragic story, of course. And it's to do with beer. As everybody knows, beer is the stuff of life.
What?
This is also, once again, I'm not lying, this is coming from Sly News, but Tsingtao, that famous Chinese beer that you get if you go and have a nice Chinese sit down, Chinese brand responds after man filmed urinating in beer vats. Tsingtao, which describes itself as the 6th largest global beer maker, saw shares tumble after a video of the incident emerged online. I must admit, I've had more than one or two Tsingtao myself in my time, I must admit, but there it is in all of its glory. Do you know what this picture says to me? This picture here? Half an hour. Oh no, sorry, 5. Oh no, those are half-litre bottles. I thought there was pissant 230ml ones, so probably 45 minutes then, in that case.
Yeah.
A man was seen urinating into a vat of Tsingtao beer at a Tsingtao beer factory, with the brand now opening a probe into the incident. Well, we all know what the probe was. It was the thing that was putting the wee into the thing. That was the probe, wasn't it? Video shows a man dressed in a hard hat and blue overalls climbing down into a malt container at the Chinese beer factory in Pingdu, unzipping his trousers and giving everybody that little bit of extra. I bet everybody's saying, oh, that batch is fucking mustard. I wonder what that little bit of extra was we've got there. I bet they're all crying, saying, it doesn't taste the same this week. Just thought he could get a job. The sales were never so high after he pissed into their tank. Tsingtao, which describes itself as the 6th largest global beer maker, said they have sealed all batches linked to the incident. They said in a statement, our company attaches high importance to the relevant video that emerged from the Tsingtao Brewery No. 3 on the 19th of October. We reported the incident to the police at the earliest opportunity, and public security organizations are involved in the investigation. At present, the batch of malt in question has been completely sealed. The company continues to strengthen its management and procedures to ensure product quality. However, if you do get a salty batch, bonus for you.
Right. No. It doesn't say whether the video was from CCTV or whether it was from somebody with their phone videoing them. And that's quite important, because what if he's pissed in other batches and just nobody's it's not recorded.
Well, like I say, this bloke could be responsible for some of the most favoured batch, like people writing in letters. Oh yeah, I have batch from 2 weeks ago. Very nice, very salty.
This is fucking. This takes piss water to a whole new level.
He's taking the piss, mate.
He is.
Oh, I just thought it was a little tickler to put in there.
Yeah, that is a good story. Oh fuck. Yeah, that's who wakes up in the morning and thinks, yeah, I'm going to go to work and piss in the beer. What the fuck? What goes on in these people's heads?
Well, the other thing is, in China, to do such a thing and to think you're not being filmed.
Yeah.
It's like, are you for real? Do you know where you live?
Well, now we've got a use for those explosive hats that they're on about. Have you heard about that in China?
The what?
They're putting a small amount of explosives in the soldiers' helmets. So if the commander wants to, he can pop them. You know, if that.
Jesus.
Yeah, if he sends them out over the hill, and they start running back towards him before he wanted them to.
Yeah. Well, you know, this harkens back to allegedly what happened. I don't know how truthful it is because I only ever saw it in a film. The assault on Stalingrad, where one man was given a gun, the other one with a round of bullets, and the other one was given a magazine. And the idea was when the bloke in front of him got shot and killed, he had to pick his rifle up and run down. That was that Enemy at the Gates film. But if they ran back and said, fuck this, and ran back towards their command, the command would shoot them.
Oh, the command definitely had the weapons at the back to make sure that they were going forward.
Yeah. So that's a bit Stalingrad, isn't it? But by touch button rather than
touch
rifle
button.
fire. That sounds, that sounds a bit like that fucking Running Man, doesn't it? When they had them fucking collars on.
Well, they had the necklace.
Yeah.
Yep. That's. Now, I'm not sure whether they were in experimental stages or they actually got to on the soldiers' heads, but that would be, see, they could have those hats in the beer factory, and anybody that pisses in the beer is good value for it. Just
well, yeah, like I say. I mean, it wouldn't make a lot of difference to DJ because he drinks piss anyway. He only drinks lager, doesn't he? He's not a real drinker,
Well, to be fair, I am also a lager drinker.
Oh, the shame. The absolute fucking... I'll tell you what, right, lads? I'm leaving the street. I'm never coming back.
It's
2 lager swillers.
It's a North of England thing, mate.
What is? Beer?
No, that's fucking heavy and all that stuff. It just got
No. I'll tell you now, right? One of the nicest pints you can get, and it's down in the smoke, is a pint called London. You know Fuller's, yeah? They do London Pride, but they do another beer called ESB. Lovely pint, 6.5%, good pint. And also down south, sort of in the Buckingham sort of outer Buckinghamshire sort of, where is it now? Oh, right on the. It's sort of just literally on the outskirts of London, but it's classed as Buckingham. Wickham, High Wycombe. Yeah. There's a brewery there called the Marlow Brewery, and they do a one called Roasted Nuts, which is, I think, 5.5%. That's a fantastic pint. But they do at Christmas time, they do one called Extra Roasted Nuts. That's 6.5, and that's just fucking nectar. So that's a lie, sir. You know, and also when you think about it, you've got Shepherd Neame in Kent. They produce beautiful proper beers, and you've also got St Austell in Cornwall produce proper beers. Yes, sir. So do not say that this is just a northern thing. I disagree.
But I think also it has a lot to do with what you're brought up on.
Well, my dad
Uh,
was always a bitter drinker, so I suppose
so-
that makes sense.
yeah, like y- where I live, you wouldn't have had anything other than lager, really. Anybody that was drinking different, that was different. Rory Herbert saying that a lot of the Argentinian casualties during the Falklands had been shot in the foot by their officers. Was it not themselves shooting themselves in the foot?
I didn't think the Argies had that good of aim, you know. Yeah, well, the thing is, that's another thing that's going to come up in it because the European Union have started calling them the Malvinas. Since we left the European Union, they've been calling them the Malvinas, haven't they? So there's another little encroachment, little
Oh,
bastards that
well,
they are.
If the Argies marched into the Falklands now, do you think we've got an army to go and fight them?
No, what we would do is we would probably send them a strongly worded tweet and do a candlelit vigil, and that would sort them out, wouldn't it? That's what we normally do when we're being oppressed by a hostile force.
Well, there are some small problems. Like, we don't have the artillery rounds to go and fight a war. Small, minor problem. We're pretty much out of artillery rounds. We're pretty much out of mortar rounds. We have enough actual bullets that we can continue our training, mostly. And our plan to get all our ammunition back up to speed is a 10-year plan. So if we want to go and fight anybody, it's going to be 2034 before we've got the kit to go do it, because we give it all to Ukraine. And our cruise missiles, yeah, they're away. They were given away. And out of this, we also found out that we have possibly 200 functional tanks. So the RGs can pretty much do whatever they want. And that's just the way of it. And our aircraft carrier's got like 2 aircraft on it. So, yeah. And I do believe that Argentina will start making moves there. Why not? There's fucking wars everywhere else. Armenia or somewhere out that direction is taking chunks out of the country beside them, which again has a European Union thing about it. We have Serbia having problems with Kosovo. It's all kicking off here, there, and everywhere. And the Western world has already sent all its ammunition to Ukraine, including the 300,000 artillery rounds that the Americans always kept in Israel. It's that's how far we've gone. So yeah, if they want. No, it's not quite as simple as that. What happened was we have spent from Desert Storm fighting armies that didn't have aircraft, didn't have tanks, didn't have aren't really armies, and because that's what the types of wars we were fighting with, didn't need a lot of artillery, we didn't need a lot of everything, and we optimized our armies to be that way and also reduce them in size. And now, whenever there comes a potential for a conflict against a proper fucking army, we ain't got the stuff to do the job. And that's the long and short of that one. DJ,
Yeah.
what do you think on that?
Sorry. I'm fucking.
He was watching Xbox.
Eh?
He was cooking his dinner on Xbox 42.
No. Oh, we lost it now. Because I'm trying to fucking find something that I forgot all about.
But you've just been for a week. Why are you looking in your zipper now, DJ? Trying to find something. We've just been to the toilet. What are you looking in your zipper for now? You found it once before.
I'm just messed with how big my cock is, to be honest. No, fucking... I forgot all about it. But I caught like 10 minutes of Chief Marie's stream earlier on, and he was on about that like the S&P conference not that long ago. Last weekend actually. They'd said that they'd agreed to pass a fucking motion to, this like abortion buffer zone shit that's currently going on just now. Well, they wish to sort of implement that, or extend that, or expand even. There we go, got it right the third time. That sort of thing to hotels to stop people from protesting outside hotels that are housing migrants. So on and off all night when I was on the stream with you earlier on, and even the stream the night, I've been like skimming through the S&P's conference on mute, trying to find the individuals that brought up this fucking motion. But the issue that I'm having is the two people who the articles about it, quote, they don't come up on Google Images, they don't have fucking Twitter accounts, so I'm just like blagging it with subtitles on to effectively see if I can fucking find it. It's doing my nutting, eh? Normally I'm very autistic with this type of shit, and I would have had that clipped and whatnot the day that the conference occurred, but it's the first conference in a few years that I've not bothered watching, and I totally forgot all about it. So no, I'm sorry, I have no idea what the fuck he's were talking about there, because I was
right. You're doing live research.
I'm being rude, admittedly.
No, you're doing live research, so don't panic not. Let's see. I
have found Graham Campbell though.
What's he at?
How do we listen to Graham Campbell? See what he's saying. I don't know what he's got to say, in all honesty, but I found him on the screen. I think it could be quite funny.
Yes, let's go with a pick and mix.
Mr. Englishman. Oh, sorry, Scotsman Graham Campbell. Fucking state of the cunt too. Oh man, where is it? There we go. Fucking knob that he is like.
Massive applause for that, and for solidarity he's given to the Ukrainian people over many years. But I have to say, for many of you, you'll know that from the communities that you've now played host to, and many of you I've spoken to today at the conference stall. You've opened your homes, you opened your hearts to Ukrainians for some clear, understandable reasons. But it's important that we name check and recognize the situation in Israel-Palestine, that the question of welcoming refugees needs to be equal. Any refugee from any war-torn country should be welcome in Scotland. We have no differentiation between a life threatened or lost in one conflict and from another. So let's hope that we also open our hearts and our homes to Palestinian refugees, unfortunately, when that time comes too. Now, I have to say this one, I want to just make a quick correction. There has been, we are speaking at a fringe meeting on tomorrow afternoon at lunchtime from the Ukraine Solidarity Campaign, and we exist basically to make that voice of the Ukrainian trade unionist and social movement organizer, lesbian and gay pride organizers, women's organization. We want to bring their voices in because there is also a struggle of Ukrainian people for democracy, for human rights, for freedoms that we all take for granted. That war is about the survival of the nation. We all understand that. But in that process, unfortunately, our British government is advising the government in Ukraine to remove rights of workers at the same time as trying to survive as a country. We hope that the advice.
I can't take that shit anymore. Fuck that.
What the fuck was going on with the subtitles?
That's not my subtitles. That's the
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I knew that wasn't your subtitles, right? But they can't fucking do subtitles.
That's probably because he talks fucking waffle. I mean, every conference is the same. They've got like it's sort of auto-generated as they're speaking when it's live. It's very funny how it seems to work fine for everybody. Then Mr. Scotsman Graham Campbell comes on and it malfunctions.
Well, I was just about to say, DJ, I always really struggle to understand his Scottish accent.
Oh, I fucking hate him, man.
I was just the thing is, whenever Graham Campbell gets up and starts waffling on, I'm just waiting for him to break into Give Me Hope, Joanna, or Electric Avenue, something like that. You know what I mean?
It's funny that fucking day, though, when me and my missus went to Edinburgh for that protest that was going on, like the sort of March for Independence. And the first thing we seen when we walked up the road was Graham Campbell. Like, seeing him in person. Like the man, the myth, the legend that is Graham Campbell. And he's walking along with his Jamaican fucking attire on, and he's screaming from the top of his voice, the top of his lungs with his English accent. What do we want? We want Scottish independence. Like, fuck off, mate. Just fuck off. But he's a riot. But yeah, so I do apologize for my background so-called research, but
yeah,
I'll find it if I can, that video, and clip it. But yeah, just not.
So he's now worried
with Graham Campbell.
Yeah, he's now worried about the LGBT people in Ukraine.
Oh, he's worried about every group you could think of,
Yep.
including Down syndrome, trans babies, and whatnot. You can fucking rest assured Graham Campbell cares about them.
Yep.
No, on a serious note, though, like, this is what he does. He always speaks about, like, these very fringe and literal minorities, LGBT people in Ukraine. Thanks, Graham Campbell, for your very forward-thinking and progressive input at an S&P conference to spend your time at your podium speaking about gays in Ukraine. Thanks for that, Graham, mate. Really helping to aid the cause for Scottish independence, Fucking knob. Like, well, why should I be surprised by a guy who's in charge of a so-called movement called Socialists for Independence? He's a fucking dick.
Oh, fuck. How does socialism and independence go?
Well, just look at fucking Ireland, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, republicanism and socialism seem to be one and the same these days. Or at the very bare minimum, it's socialists that are advocating for a republic.
Yeah, it's and then you'll get together and sign the international
Yeah.
because you all want to be independent. Fuck off.
I'd love to see an independent Scotland one day, but I'd also like to see six figures in my bank balance. It's never going to fucking happen. You know.
Well, no. You can have an independent Scotland within the European Union.
Yeah, well, we're getting that when Labour get in, mate, so it's fine. You vote for them. When they reverse our alleged Brexit, or they go into a coalition with the SNP, which is probably what's going to end up happening, to be honest.
You've just reminded me. You know the way we had a Brexit, but we're still bringing in the banning of plastic forks and shit. That's European directive and all that mad stuff.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what we are changing away from the European model?
Why?
The restrictions on bankers and what the restrictions on bankers and what they can invest in and what they can't invest with. The European model for that's being repealed to give the bankers more freedom.
Well, thank fuck for that.
Yeah, because there's no chance that's going to fuck us all up. But yes, that's the one thing that we're going to scrap. Oh yes, the scrapping of Alphabet Cat. Thank you very much. Yeah, the bankers bonus restrictions, they're gone.
Fucking hell.
Yep. You know.
I just wanted to as well there, sorry, before I forget, Streaky Bacon's comment. I mean, he's been on fire tonight, but I'll come back to what you were saying there in a second, because admittedly it's the first I've fucking heard of it, but he said when Scotland becomes independent, 10 years after, there will be hordes of them with pot bellies and flies in their noses and singing about them. You know, I wouldn't be too quick to make your wee jokes about Scottish alleged independence, because I'm pretty sure Wales is probably going to be going the same direction, to be honest. Like, the second Labour are ousted and you get that lovely, beautiful, sweet, progressive, nationalistic Plaid Cymru in charge, you are going the same way as Scotland, which is, in fact, the way of the fucking dodo. But until such a time, enjoy your 20-mile-per-hour zones, mate, because that's really saving the planet.
Yep.
But yeah, the banker thing, I mean, ever since we allegedly had Brexit, I've always found it peculiar. Even your man that was in the chat earlier on, that National Housing Party guy, as I said, I don't know which one it was, but he was like, "Oh, voting does work because, you know, the BNP helped us to get Brexit." But did we though? Did we get it? I don't think we fucking did. What's changed? Like, what has changed? Nothing has changed at all. We're still fucking kowtowed by the European Convention on Human Rights, still kowtowed by United Nations BS and whatnot. We're still like, nothing has changed at all. If anything, I've always kind of believed anyway. And I know it's a sort of pessimistic worldview to have, and it's very much conspiratorial. I get that, because I can't prove what I'm saying, but I think the vote went the way that it did because it was allowed to go that way. I don't believe for 1 second there was some sort of populist up fucking rising, because if there was, then surely the vote would have been much larger than it was in terms of those who were in favor of leaving. But that said, as I said, I can't prove or disprove that one way or the other. But fundamentally, I don't see what's changed.
We are still implementing European directives at this point. Ones that not just complying with the old ones we're already brought in. Europe brings out a new directive, we implement it. That's how far out of Europe we are. But the bankers' bonuses, we'll get that back to the way we want it.
So I don't see how the BNP really influenced fucking anything, but then really, because we got nothing. I don't know. The old expression from back in the day, and I can't remember who said it, but it kind of goes along the lines of, because I'm paraphrasing, voting worked and they wouldn't allow you to vote. Well, I think there's very much an argument to be made that there is some truth to that. In fact, because let's be honest, powers that be have a lot more control over all of us than we might give them credit for. And I just don't believe for a second that you have the ability to fucking disrupt their plans. Not saying it's impossible, but the mechanisms that you are provided with to change things, don't think that's the way to go. But that's it. Fuck those.
Right. We are coming up on 3 hours. Have either of you two got any burning issues that you want to talk about?
No, mate, I'm good, mate. It's been a good stream, actually. I've enjoyed it. Bit ranty at times. I do apologise for going off on one earlier, but
Never apologise for that. You were fucking brilliant, mate.
But yeah, no, I've enjoyed it. And it's nice to see the chat still hanging around even into the hours. And once again, just repeat, here in the UK, well, I would imagine it'd be the same around most of the civilized world. The clocks go back an hour, so we are an informative channel as well as good fun. But cheers, mate. Yeah, nothing else from me, mate. Cheers.
So just to clarify, it's 12:20.
No,
it will be at. It'll be.
Oh, it's
1
like
o'clock
changing
at 2
like 4
o'clock.
minutes.
Yeah. You get an hour back, basically.
No, it's just like I've got a digital clock in my room that's saying 12:21, whereas my laptop's saying 1:21, so I'm very much malfunctioning as we speak.
it will. Your laptop one will change at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Well, the fucking clock in my room is mugging me off.
I've got mine might be the same, Deej, because I've got one of these ones that's linked to like a radio antenna or a radio sort of thing, a radio signal. And when it gets to the 2 o'clock, you see it sort of jump back. And when it does it on bloody spring, you see it jump forward. So, but I don't know exactly when it does that, but it obviously, it does do it, which is when I bought it, crikey, it must be over 20 years ago now. I bought it because I never wanted to get caught out. Believe it or not. So,
and then
it's still going strong.
Fucked it all up.
Oregon Scientific, no less. There you go. There's a mate you don't hear of anymore. I don't even know if it exists, but got to give them the due. Clock it out. And it's one of these ones where it's got a little snooze button on the top. So when it kicks off, because it's quite a gentle noise, like it goes beep. And then a few seconds later, it goes beep. But if you leave it for like a minute, it's going ape shit. And like you literally can't ignore it for any longer. But the button on the top, which doubles as I think a 3-minute snooze, if you click it during the night, it also projects like an LED time on the roof. So sometimes I'll be lying there, I'll wake up like dying for a pee, and I'll think, what time is it? Is it worth getting out of bed? And like beep, 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's worth getting out of bed for 3 o'clock. Or beep, 7:55. No, fuck that. You know what I mean? Or 6:55. No, fuck that. Yeah.
And we go full circle. I rest my case. Boomer.
Well, like I say, it might be old technology, and it still runs. And like I say, I think I've replaced the batteries 3 times in 20 years. So if it ain't broke, you know what I mean?
Well, DJ, other than the time, anything else you want to get off your chest, mate?
Nah, but it's been a cursed wee stream. Like, I've got to fucking stop doing this at the end of the month, doing 2 streams back to back, because it's fucking only so much that you can say, to be honest. But burnt out now, so It's been a pleasure, boys, and thank you to all you people in the chat who have probably lost some IQ points tonight listening to us cunts, but it is the way that it is. So vote Green next election, and fuck Sensen for voting Labour. Love you all, bye.
All right, and with that, I'm going to get the outro up, and we'll stick all your comments up on the screen even.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, Sean? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. But from that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all time. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before. Forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. With power and wealth, you control the mainstream. You never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. We create large society through family, God, and tribe. The gods of water, air, and land brought us through the land. The earth, the moon, the sun, each became a deity in the parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just a blind that we are bringing excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
Okay, everybody. Samson's been Samson. DJ was DJ. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Good night. God bless, and see you all next week. I'm out of here. Gone. Bye bye.